Chapter 463. The trembling of the heavenly scarlet golden bead surprised Lin Feng. Could the rumors about this treasure being related to the Yu Huang celestial sea be true? He recalled the aura of a supreme being that had flashed in the heavenly scarlet golden bead when facing the pressure of the ancient Kuanpeng. When the two reflected, Lin Feng couldn't help muttering in his heart, if that's the case, the old golden crow didn't die in vain. When he thought of that, he executed the power of the mysterious sky treasure tree and broke through the void, temporarily shaking off Xian Longsheng. He came to the main battlefield in the center of the cloud forest tree. The long sword in Xian Longsheng's hand trembled, and that spot of light instantly blossomed. Sword chi that was much more terrifying than before traversed time and space to chase after Lin Feng, not letting up at all. Feeling the heavenly immortal sword chi chasing after him, which crossed boundless space in an instant, its speed not slower than Jade Capital Mountains, Lin Feng frowned slightly. His gaze was still fixed on the shattered netherworld flower disk. The two beams of divine light collided and directly shattered the disk. The purple-gold divine light released by the Supreme Imperial Palace turned into countless golden rays of light that raged between heaven and earth. It was as if countless golden dragons were tumbling, stirring up the world's chi of origin into pieces. Among the golden rays that filled the sky, a smear of purple light rose and fell. It was Yuda netherworld flower. In the next instant, a palm that was as white as jade, a huge claw that was like black iron, and another beam of purple-gold divine light grabbed onto Yuda netherworld flower. The palm belonged to the enchantress, the claw belonged to Golden Rock Great Sage, and the second beam of purple-gold divine light belonged to the Grand Imperial Palace. The three of them grabbed onto the destructive divine light at the same time and pulled it back. Xianlin Taoist stepped on the stone stairs and had a chance to activate the thousand-edge flowing light mirror, but the enchantress stretched out her second hand at that moment. The thousand prismatic streamlight mirror transformed into thousands of layers of space-time planes to defend. At the same time, the enchantress's palm also changed. A blurry light flickered on her palm. She reached out and directly froze the thousands of space-time planes. Although it was only for a moment, the thousand prismatic light mirror's divine ability was instantly broken by the enchantress. With a light wave of her 5 fingers, Xianlin Taoist was forced back. If it wasn't for Xianlin Taoist's quick reaction, the thousand prismatic light mirror would have been snatched away by the enchantress. This scene fell into Lin Feng's eyes, and his gaze immediately narrowed. The transformation of Mount Yujing combined with the mysterious heaven treasure tree is even stronger than the thousand-edge flowing light mirror. I wonder if it will be frozen by the sky charm. Everything happened in an instant. Being blocked by the enchantress, Xianlin Taoist was a step slower and couldn't make it in time. Yuda Minghua was captured by the enchantress, Golden Rock Great Sage, and Grand Imperial Palace. The shattered disk turned into fragments that flew in all directions. Because Long Night and Heavenly Wolf Great Sage had absorbed the essence of the cloud forest tree, they could barely protect themselves. However, the others had been sacrificed, and their primordial spirits were on the verge of collapsing. At that moment, they were about to die because of the calamity. Lin Feng's gaze flashed, and his magic power swept up Monk Dade, Shizong Yue, and Star Dipper Dao Venerable. As for Sword Venerable Guan Chong, he could only pray for his own good fortune. On the other side, the three forces were pulling together, but they had to be careful not to anger Yuda Minghua. The Enchantress and Golden Rock Great Sage were the ones who had refined Yuda Minghua, so they had an even greater advantage. They were about to shake off the purple-gold divine light of Grand Imperial Palace. Grand Imperial Palace wasn't to be outdone. In the radiance of the palace, millions and millions of subjects sang together, and boundless power was imbued into the palace. Their power was further strengthened, and they didn't give an inch. The sky was shaken by the power of the 3 strong practitioners, and the power of the entire cloud forest realm actually started to collapse. Terrifying cracks appeared in heaven and earth, and it was as though numerous wounds were being torn open on the world itself. The battle of a bunch of strong practitioners, and under the collision of their powers, it looked like this medium-sized world was about to be destroyed. And even higher up in the sky, 9 lights heaven collapsing formation and a golden dragon that was flashing with colorless radiance were also fighting until the heavens fell and the earth cracked. The terrifying strike of 9 lights heaven collapsing formation was whipped by the golden dragon's tail, and it suddenly changed direction, heading for Yude Minghua instead. Lin Feng made a prompt decision and raised the heavenly scarlet golden bead to mobilize the power of Jade Capital Mountain, Profound Sky Treasure Tree, and Heavenly Cycle Purple Chi. The 4 of them combined into one to execute instant change again, and he dodged the immortal heavenly sword Chi that had already caught up to him. He also rushed towards Yude Minghua. Xian Longsheng was prepared this time, and the immortal heavenly sword Chi trembled in the space. It actually grasped Lin Feng's movement in that short instant, and it continued to slash through the void. However, Lin Feng was long prepared. After the first change, he changed again. This time, Lin Feng executed the power of instant change to the extreme, and it almost exceeded his ability. He almost got lost in the long river of time. Xian Longsheng saved Sword Venerable Guan Chong, who was on the verge of death. At the same time, he chased after Lin Feng again, but this time, the immortal heavenly sword Qi lost track of Lin Feng. It chose the wrong plane of time and space, and it directly landed on Yude Minghua. At the same time, the magic power of 9 lights heaven collapsing formation and the golden dragon also landed. The enchantress, Golden Rock Great Sage, and the Grand Imperial Palace were locked in a stalemate. The power of the 6 strong practitioners worked on Yude Minghua together, and in the dazzling radiance, unparalleled power burst forth. Yude Minghua was split into 3. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes. He saw that the split Yude Minghua didn't shatter. After strangely absorbing the power of the 6 strong practitioners, it actually split on its own and split into 3 beams of purple divine light. After the enchantress, Golden Rock Great Sage, and the Great Zhou Empire each obtained a beam of Yude Minghua, they all quickly retreated, wanting to suppress the Yude Minghua in their hands. Lin Feng's heavenly scalpel golden bead trembled slightly before returning to Lin Feng's hand. At first glance, there didn't seem to be any obvious changes, but upon closer inspection, one would discover that there were faint purple flowing lights flashing through the golden mist inside the treasured bead. I'll go back and slowly ponder it. Lin Feng raised his head and saw that the battle between the 5-colored golden dragon and the 9 lights heaven collapsing formation had reached its climax. At this moment, the void opened up again, and a white cloud appeared from within. The sect master of Mount Shu Sword Sect, Xian Longsheng, instantly pulled back his sword and gave up on Lin Feng. He looked at that cloud. That cloud floated around like a gentle breeze and cut in between the 5-colored golden dragon and the 9 lights heaven collapsing formation. In an instant, it swept up the entire formation. The huge formation that had a radius of several hundred miles was wrapped up by the cloud in an instant. The pitch-black universe revealed itself in the sky, and the 9 light stars in the galaxy had all dimmed. The cloud had actually cut off the connection between the formation and the 9 lights of the heavens. The source of power of the 9 lights heaven collapsing formation was the almost endless power of the stars of the 9 lights of the heavens. Now that the source of power was cut off, the entire formation instantly withered. In the formation, Great Sage Qiongqi's expression was incomparably grim. Yan Nanlai. The current temple master of Taishu Temple, Yan Nanlai. Ever since the war between the 2 worlds, the then temple master of Taishu Temple had retired to the Supreme Elders' Council due to his injuries. Yan Nanlai had then taken over the position of temple master. It had been more than 4,000 years since then. This white cloud was formed by Yan Nanlai's magic power. Great Sage Qiongqi didn't dare to be negligent and immediately activated the power of the 9 lights heaven collapsing formation to the extreme. Within the formation, 9 light figures moved up and down. They activated a powerful force at the same time, instantly tearing apart the clouds and re-establishing a connection with the 9 light stars of the heavens. Great Sage Qiongqi laughed sinisterly. 9 lights converge. At this moment, the 9 lights of the heavens lit up at the same time, and the majestic power of the stars endlessly surged into the formation through the void. The huge force immediately shook the already unstable cloudy forest world even more, and it was already on the verge of collapse. Boom! 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 At this moment, a series of earth-shattering loud noises sounded, instantly suppressing the ferocious aura of the Nine Lights Heaven collapsing formation. This top ancient ominous formation of the demon race was trembling at this moment, as if it had met its natural enemy. Every time the loud noises sounded, it was as if the heavens and earth were being split apart, and a primeval universe was being broken open, turning into a primordial creation. Everyone's expression turned grave. It's the supreme formation breaking drum. The bane of all formations in the world, the magic treasure of Taishu Temple, the supreme formation breaking drum, sounded and suppressed the heavens. Although this magic treasure was targeted at the Nine Lights Heaven collapsing formation, Lin Feng only felt that his yin and yang life and death formation was also slightly shaking. The Supreme Emperor Palace that was hidden in the void far away was flashing with golden light, and the countless formations set up in the palace became unstable, as if they were going to be shattered together. The white clouds rolled over again, trying to stabilize the Nine Lights Heaven collapsing formation. Suddenly, a golden light flashed, and Golden Rock Great Sage fell into the formation. Cheongqi Great Sage immediately retreated to the side, handing over the control of the formation to Golden Rock Great Sage. Golden Rock Great Sage let out a long cry, and thousands of golden lights appeared all over his body, all entering the Nine Lights Heaven collapsing formation, forcibly stabilizing the formation. Yen Nanlai, today is not the time yet. This Nine Lights Heaven collapsing formation lacks a treasure to stabilize the core of the formation, and the quality of the 9 treasures used to set up the formation is also not uniform. Silently, Golden Rock Great Sage said, "In the future, I will personally bring the Nine Lights Heaven collapsing formation in its most perfect state to destroy your supreme formation breaking drum and Taishu Temple." He activated his demonic power, and the Nine Lights Heaven collapsing formation suddenly became pitch black, without light, but it was filled with an extremely terrifying aura. It swallowed the sky and the sun, like a huge black hole that was going to swallow the entire cloudy forest world. Under Golden Rock Great Sage's control, it was the 9th strike of the Nine Lights Heaven collapsing formation that drew the power of the dark star Rahu, instantly swallowing more than half of the white clouds of Taishu Temple's master Yen Nanlai. When the sound of the supreme formation breaking drum rang out again, the formation of the Nine Lights Heaven collapsing formation quickly reversed and turned into a small black dot. Golden Rock Great Sage opened his mouth and swallowed it. At the same time, he swept Great Sage Cheongqi up as well. He was about to transform into a stream of light and escape at an extremely fast speed. At this moment, when he unleashed his speed, no one could catch up to him. But how could the others let him go so easily? Yen Nanlai, the 5-colored golden dragon, and Dao Venerable Xuanlin's attacks came down at the same time. Even Heavenly Enchantress Great Sage and Grand Imperial Palace who had been hiding to suppress Yuda Minghua made their moves again. A group of strong practitioners of the 3rd level of Primordial Spirit Realm attacked at the same time, and their overflowing power was like a calamity of the end of the world. All of the vital chi dispersed, and the power of the realm that maintained the cloudy forest world collapsed completely. Huge, distorted cracks of chaos covered the world like a spider web. A medium-sized world was destroyed just like that. Facing such a powerful attack, Golden Rock Great Sage's cold black golden eyes gave off an incomparably cold glow. He suddenly opened his mouth and spat out the Nine Lights Heaven collapsing formation again. The 9 shadows floating in the formation trembled together. The entire formation shattered with a loud bang, and 9 rays of dazzling light shot out in all directions like 9 stars going berserk. Chapter 464. The destructive power of heaven and earth was incomparably terrifying. Unlike what Lin Feng, the Enchantress, Long Yi, and the others simulated with their own powers, the cloudy forest realm before them was a real medium-class world heading towards destruction. It was not comparable to the destruction of a boundless world, but it was still incomparably terrifying. Even a 3rd-tier primordial spirit realm powerhouse would not dare to take the risk easily. Golden Rock Great Sage was in such a perilous situation, and he still had to face the siege of so many powerhouses. His gaze was as cold as ever, and he made a prompt decision, directly reversing the power of the Nine Light Sky Collapsing Formation. The reverse distortion caused the Nine Light Sky Collapsing Formation to automatically disintegrate. The power that erupted not only helped him resist the destructive power of the Cloudy Forest realm, but also shook Yen Nanlai and the others away. The 9 treasures used to set up the 9 Light Sky Collapsing Formation scattered in all directions like 9 stars going berserk. Only the formation diagram turned into a black dot, and Golden Rock Great Sage was about to retrieve it. But at this moment, facing the great destructive power of heaven and earth, the drum beats of the supreme formation breaking drum reverberated in the void, forcefully opening up a path. A white cloud rapidly caught up to Golden Rock Great Sage. The clouds suddenly seemed to be boiling, rolling non-stop and spreading to both sides. 2 streams of power, one black and one white, flew out from within. Yin and Yang rotated, sucking in the formation diagram of the 9 Light Sky Collapsing Formation. The medium-class world was destroyed, and everyone was trapped in the dark turbulence. They swayed unsteadily, and in the next moment, they were about to die along with heaven and earth. In an extremely short period of time, the group of powerhouses had consecutively fought several rounds. The Enchantress's jade white palm also touched the formation diagram of the 9 Light Sky Collapsing Formation. The Grand Imperial Palace, the 5-colored Golden Dragon, and the Xianlin Taoist were not willing to fall behind. Golden Rock Great Sage did not panic when the formation diagram was sucked in by the power of the Taishu Temple Sect Master Yen Nanlai. His gaze was still as cold as ever. Under the effect of his demonic power, the black formation diagram suddenly expanded, turning into 2 black halos inside and outside. The 2 halos separated from each other, and the central halo was swallowed by Golden Rock Great Sage. Then, he immediately flew away at top speed. After being uprooted by Lin Feng, the few remaining cloud forest trees were currently facing the end of the world, also swaying in the wind and rain, looking like they were about to be destroyed. The Golden Rock Great Sage's figure flashed, and in the nick of time, he grabbed the 2 cloud forest trees, and then directly broke through space and entered the void turbulence, disappearing in the blink of an eye. He had completely left the cloud forest world and returned to the infinite wilderness vast land. The inner circle was taken away by the Golden Rock Great Sage, while the outer circle was held by Yen Nanlai's mana. But before he could retract his mana, the Enchantress Great Sage's palm grabbed it. The Grand Imperial Palace flew up, wanting to get a piece of the pie. The Heavenly Charm Great Sage and Yen Nanlai each released a strand of Transcendence energy, which turned into raging waves in the void, blowing the Grand Imperial Palace like a boat in a storm. Although it would not capsize, it would still shake. The Grand Imperial Palace wanted to break through the violent waves in the void. Xianlin Dao Master stepped on the stone stairs and fell down, smashing on the purple golden flowing light above the Grand Imperial Palace. He blocked the Grand Imperial Palace for a while, and suddenly the palace completely stopped in the void. Yen Nanlai, the Enchantress, and Xianlin Taoist made their moves at the same time to deal with Emperor Grand Palace, and this gave the 5-colored Golden Dragon a chance to pounce forward. It stretched out its dragon claws, and the 5 elements metal, wood, water, fire, and earth rotated to grab the halo formed by the 9 stars crumbling formation diagram. The 3 of them used their strength together, and the halo split into 3 just like Yuda Minghua. However, this was different from Yuda Minghua disintegrating by itself. It was truly torn into 3 parts by the power of the 3 strong practitioners. After shocking Xianlin Taoist back, Emperor Liang Pan, who was in Emperor Grand Palace, saw that there was no hope for the 9 stars crumbling formation diagram, so he set his sights on the 9 formation treasures that had been scattered. However, Lin Feng was already 1 step ahead. While everyone was fighting for the formation diagram, he went to intercept those treasures. Lin Feng quickly collected them and grabbed 4 treasures. When he was about to grab the 5th treasure, which was a crystal flashing with purple light, Emperor Grand Palace came over in a domineering manner. Lin Feng saw this and sneered. He smacked his head, and purple chi filled the air. As the clear light rose furiously, Jade Capital Mountain descended into the void. This time, it wasn't Lin Feng that had absorbed the purple chi of the treasure tree into his own divine art. Instead, he had completely released the power of Jade Capital Mountain. White Jade Immortal Mountain quickly recovered to a height of 10,000 yards. The branches and leaves of the treasure tree on the peak trembled, and purple chi slowly enveloped the immortal mountain. A layer of multicolored and glistening halo formed a perfect sphere. It contained Jade Capital Mountain, the profound sky treasure tree, and the purple sea of clouds. It was like a complete world of creation. Tens of thousands of wills and wills fused together. The power was so great that it caused everyone to raise their eyebrows. Emperor Grand Palace was domineering, but Jade Capital Mountain was even more domineering. Standing on the spot without moving, it welcomed the oncoming Emperor Grand Palace. The purple gold radiance and the circular light barrier collided, and a violent impact that wasn't inferior to the destruction of the cloud forest world erupted. Boom, 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 boom. The dark void also shattered, turning into a chaotic state. The earth, water, fire, and wind all went berserk. These powers gathered together with the power of the destruction of the cloud forest world, and a chain reaction occurred, causing even more complete destruction. As a result, in the void turbulence, with Jade Capital Mountain and Emperor Grand Palace at the center, everything within 1,000 miles was empty. Nothing existed, destroyed completely. Even time seemed to have stopped. It seemed like in the next instant, but also like countless years had passed. Black and white things appeared, like the primordial aura from before the primordial world's creation. At this moment, the others saw that the Emperor Grand Palace was sent flying thousands of miles away by the force of the collision. At this moment, it looked like a small dot of light. What was even more terrifying was that Jade Capital Mountain stood proudly in its original position, not moving at all. Although the void shattered and space no longer existed, Yen Nanlai, the enchantress, and the others could clearly feel that in the collision just now, Jade Capital Mountain didn't move at all. It was as if a giant was indifferently watching his opponent pounce on him. After a collision, his opponent was sent flying like a kite, while the giant himself was completely unaffected. He didn't even move his feet in the slightest. This was the result of the Emperor Grand Palace only bombarding Jade Capital Mountain with magic power. If there was a real collision like when Jade Capital Mountain collided with Divine Wind Mountain, it would probably be smashed to pieces by Jade Capital Mountain. It was like a speeding carriage that had been pushed to the limit, crashing straight into a mountain. The mountain didn't move, but the carriage was smashed into pieces. In the distance, the Emperor Grand Palace that was originally shrouded in light and worshipped by billions of people had mostly dissipated now. It needed to reform. In the palace, Emperor Zhou Liangpan and Zhu Hongwu looked at Jade Capital Mountain in the void with grim expressions. When the two forces had collided, the air currents in the main hall of the Emperor Grand Palace had surged and swirled everywhere. It was as if it had become the center of a storm in a vast ocean. Even with Liang Pan and Zhu Hongwu's cultivation, they felt their footing wavering for an instant. The Emperor Grand Palace is a treasure made by humans after all. Facing the power of heaven and earth like Jade Capital Mountain, which is close to the creation of an area, we can't fight head-on. We have to use divine arts to restrain it, Liang Pan said slowly. Zhu Hongwu's gaze was fixed on Jade Capital Mountain, and he clenched his fists tightly. When your majesty reaches the third level of the primordial spirit realm, or when you refine Yuda Minghua as the source of power for the Emperor Grand Palace, no matter which method succeeds, you can fight with Jade Capital Mountain. With both methods, our chances of victory will increase. Liang Pan nodded his head. That's right, now isn't the time to become enemies with Xianmen Tianzong. He controlled the Emperor Grand Palace to flash in the void and pick up a cloud forest tree. He then broke open the void and returned to the divine land. When Lin Feng and Liang Pan collided, the enchantress also decisively grabbed a cloud forest tree and flashed away. At this moment, the cloud forest world had collapsed. The few remaining cloud forest trees also scattered in all directions, leaving the heavenly enchantress Great Sage and Liang Pan to only choose the location of a cloud forest tree and go over to take it and leave. Mount Shu Sword Sect Master Xan Longxing muttered to himself irresolutely and also picked up a cloud forest tree. While Lin Feng and Liang Pan were fighting, the five-colored golden dragon took the rest of the treasures of the nine light sky-shattering formation into its pouch, and then also swept up a cloud forest tree. The five-colored golden dragon circled in the air for a while, and the light gradually dissipated, turning into a middle-aged man wearing a crown, wearing a dragon robe, and overflowing with the aura of an emperor. This person was about the same age as Emperor Liang Pan of Zhou. His facial features were completely different, but his temperament was extremely similar. They were both emperors who ruled over the world and held the universe in their hands. He was none other than the current emperor of Great Qin Dynasty, Emperor Qin, Stonefeather. His figure gradually vanished into the void, avoiding the threat of the power of the world's destruction. His eyes flashed with an incomprehensible glow. Emperor Grand Palace, N, if I refine you to Minghua, it will indeed be a troublesome matter. The treasure of our great Qin that suppresses the fate of the empire needs to be repaired as soon as possible. After wiping out those influential families, we should have enough resources. Stonefeather took one last look at the cloud formed by Yan Nanlai's magic power and Xan Longsheng who was standing quietly in the void. He then looked at Jade Capital Mountain. Xianmen Tianzong, his figure quickly vanished without a trace. Meanwhile, Yan Nanlai and Xan Longsheng's attention was placed on Jade Capital Mountain. That celestial mountain that looked fine even though it was in the middle of the terrifying calamity of the dimensional world's destruction. The mysterious sky treasure tree at the peak of the mountain flashed with precious light, and Lin Feng drove Jade Capital Mountain back into the void. In the cloud formed by Yan Nanlai's magic power, Xianlin Taoist and Yan Mingyue stood side by side. Beside them was a huge cloud forest tree that was shrouded in the white clouds. It looked much smaller than before. Xianlin Taoist took a look at Yan Mingyue and slowly said, "Well done." Yan Mingyue smiled slightly. She had traveled with Lin Feng previously, and when Lin Feng had led his disciples to uproot the cloud forest tree, she had followed along and harvested a cloud forest tree. Yan Nanlai's cloud gradually retracted, and he also left the void realm to face Qinmu from afar. Xan Longsheng's figure also vanished into the void as he returned to the divine land. Yan Mingyue and Xianlin Taoist looked at Xan Longsheng's gradually blurring figure. At the very beginning, Xan Longsheng fought with the master of Xian's sect, delaying his chance to snatch the treasure. But later on, why didn't he make a move? Other than getting a cloud forest tree, wouldn't he have made a wasted trip? In the white cloud, a clear voice rang out faintly. His harvest is much more than you guys expected. Chapter 465. Hearing Yan Nanlai's words, Yan Mingyue immediately shut up, while the Xianlin Taoist appeared much more distant. Yan Nanlai was a conservative, while he was a radical. Their paths were different, but the Xianlin Taoist still maintained the most basic respect for Yan Nanlai. Silently, he listened to Yan Nanlai's words. This time, Shushan's gains might be even greater than ours. Silently, Yan Nanlai said, through the contest with the master of the Mystic Gate, Xan Longsheng saw a brand new path. A path where the heavenly immortal sword Qi had already reached its end, but a new path has been born. The heavenly immortal sword Qi is indeed the #1 sword Tao of our great heaven primordial world. It has already elaborated on the profundities of the sword Tao to the extreme, but it has also lost its direction of advancement. Today, however, Xan Longsheng saw the possibility of the heavenly immortal sword Qi taking another step forward. Hearing this, not just Yan Mingyue, but even the third-tier primordial spirit transformation realm Taishu Temple's Grand Elder, Xianlin Taoist, turned solemn. Taishu Temple had been in contact with the Shushan sword sect for tens of thousands of years. In the Divine Land, other than Shushan itself, Taishu Temple definitely understood the heavenly immortal sword Qi the best. Both the Xianlin Taoist and Yan Mingyue knew the power of the heavenly immortal sword Qi. In the cloudy forest realm, Xian Longsheng had only shown a small part of his strength. Now that they knew the possibility of the heavenly immortal sword Qi taking another step forward, how could they not know what this meant? Slowly, the Xianlin Taoist said, "The master of the mystic gate, is his sword Dao cultivation really that powerful?" Yan Nanlai answered calmly, "In terms of sword Dao cultivation alone, I do not think he can defeat Xian Longsheng. However, his sword Dao has surpassed the original boundaries of the great heaven primordial world. This is for sure." The Xianlin Taoist slowly closed his eyes. With just one exchange, it is impossible for Xian Longsheng to break through the current limits of the heavenly immortal sword Qi. He will try to steal the master of the mystic gate. There will definitely be a battle between Mount Shu and Xianmen Tianzong. Yan Mingyue gently tucked her hair behind her ear and said, "Eldest brother intended to deploy Xianmen Tianzong to restrict the Shushan sword sect, but now it seems that there is no need to worry. Originally, I thought that there was still a gap between Xianmen Tianzong and the Mount Shu sword sect. But now, it seems that the master of the celestial sect of wonders is truly unfathomable. Previously, no one would have thought that he was actually a great sword cultivator." Slowly, Yan Mingyue said, "Disciple originally intended to probe his foundation previously, wanting to see just what quality that magic treasure of his refined from the vermilion flame demon pupil is. But previously, the situation in the cloud forest world was too urgent. In order to uproot the cloud forest tree, I ended up missing the opportunity." Xianlin Taoist closed his eyes and said indifferently, "So what if I did? Even if he is only a Qi condensation cultivator, it does not change the fact that he already has the ability to threaten the Mount Shu sword sect. This is the real thing. The lower his cultivation, it only means that his potential is stronger, which means that the others should feel more pressure." Yan Mingyue smiled slightly and said, "Disciple will feel more and more ashamed, feeling that all my years of cultivation have been for nothing." Xianlin Taoist had a smile that was yet not a smile on his face, but he didn't say a word. The white cloud swept both of them up and returned to the divine land. Yan Nanlai's voice came from the cloud, "9 lights heaven collapsing formation and Yuda Minghua have appeared one after another, the abilities of Golden Peng and Heavenly Enchantress have increased, and the demon race will definitely make a move. Heaven primordial great world is destined to be in turmoil again, so our Taishu temple needs to make preparations early. The rise of Xianmen Tianzong might not be a bad thing." Xianlin Taoist and Yan Mingyue nodded silently. Yan Mingyue looked into the sky and pondered in her heart. "Master of the celestial sect of wonders, Lin Feng, what kind of influence will you bring to this heaven primordial great world?" The same question was swirling in the minds of everyone else. In the vast land of heaven wasteland, a ray of golden light streaked across the horizon and instantly traversed tens of thousands of miles. It landed in a huge mountain range, and there were numerous huge bird nests built there. One of them was the largest and shone resplendently with golden light. The bird nest didn't look simple at all. Instead, it looked grand and majestic and imposing. The air of an emperor was on full display. The golden light landed in the nest and revealed the appearance of Golden Peng Great Sage. After he landed, he opened his mouth and spat out Great Sage Cheongqi, Golden Peng Tian Luen, and the rest of the great demons. A black dot flew out from Golden Peng Great Sage's mouth and landed in front of Great Sage Cheongqi. The periphery of the formation diagram has been separated, but the core is still there. You can use the core to deduce the parts that have been separated. I will help you find the materials to set up the formation again. Everything is ready." Great Sage Cheongqi put away the formation diagram and nodded calmly. Rock Emperor, Golden Peng Tian Luen, Sea Dragon Eagle, and the rest of the great demons had solemn expressions. For Yuda Minghua, Golden Peng Great Sage had paid a huge price. The 9 lights heaven-shattering formation had been broken. Although it could be set up again, it would undoubtedly take a lot of effort. Out of the dozens of cloud forest trees, he only managed to get 2, which was even more heart-wrenching. Even though he had succeeded in sacrificing Yuda Minghua, he couldn't enjoy it alone. It didn't matter that the Great Zhou Empire had gotten a portion, but the crucial point was that the enchantress had gotten a portion as well. This was a little hard to accept. Golden Pen Great Sage took a look at them. His black and golden eyes were cold and calm without any fluctuations. He said indifferently, "No matter." Light suddenly flashed in his eyes, which then crumbled and turned into primordial chaos. Golden Peng Tian Luen and the rest of the great sages of the demon race were all astonished. Even Great Sage Cheongqi was astonished. His gaze then became incomparably passionate. "This is the Book of Primordial Chaos." Golden Peng Great Sage said slowly, "Yuda Minghua has fused the true spirit of the heavenly enchantress with its demonic power. It's still quite difficult to deduce the complete Book of Primordial Chaos, but as long as there's enough time, it won't be a problem for me." Smiles instantly appeared on the faces of Golden Peng Tian Luen and the rest of the great demons. If they could obtain the Book of Primordial Chaos, all their previous efforts would have been worth it. There wasn't much joy in Golden Peng Great Sage's gaze. He looked back at the void, and Lin Feng's relaxed appearance and the majestic white jade immortal mountain appeared in his mind. His thoughts were a million thoughts. When I enter the divine land in the future, this person will probably be the biggest variable. Almost at the same time, the enchantress, Emperor Liang Pan of Zhou, and Emperor Qin's stone feather were thinking non-stop. To them, no matter what plan they made or what strategy they thought of, Xianmen Tianzong would become an existence that they had to consider and couldn't avoid. What kind of changes will Lin Feng, the master of Xian Gate, and his sect add to the great heaven primordial world? Lin Feng, who was on everyone's mind, was sitting on Jade Capital Mountain. He was also thinking about the consequences of his trip to the Cloud Forest realm. The sacred emperor of the last generation of the demon race, Yuda's great divine art, Yuda Minghua, had reappeared in the world and landed in the hands of the enchantress, Golden Pen Great Sage, and the Great Zhou Empire. In terms of relationship and geography, the Great Zhou Empire and Lin Feng both belonged to the divine land. They often met each other, so it was easy for them to come into contact and conflict. Jade Capital Mountain and the Grand Imperial Palace had clashed head-on when they were fighting for the treasure just now. Things without an owner would belong to whoever was capable, and everyone would fight for it based on their own abilities. That wasn't much, and Lin Feng and Liang Pan wouldn't take it to heart. After today, they would still be allies and enemies. However, because of Yu Hongyan's hatred for his country and family, and the grudge between Zhu Yi and Zhu Hongguo, no matter if it was Lin Feng or Liang Pan, they could all foresee that Xianmen Tianzong and the Great Zhou Empire would have a conflict in the future. Under such circumstances, the growth of the power of the Great Zhou Empire wasn't good news for Lin Feng. However, Yuda Minghua was the supreme power of the demon world, so even if the human cultivators obtained it, they wouldn't be able to control it as they wished. When this thing landed in Liang Pan's hands, he could only refine it to become the power source of the Grand Imperial Palace, increasing the power of this super magic treasure. On the other hand, the Enchantress and Golden Pen Great Sage of Heaven Wasteland Vast Land didn't seem to have any conflicts in the short term, but after obtaining Yuda Minghua, there were many hidden dangers. After they completely refined the divine light, their individual abilities would definitely rise drastically, and the Enchantress, who had mastered the Book of Primordial Chaos, was already a heaven-bestowed genius with powerful abilities. Lin Feng suspected that if she was given enough time, could she use Yuda Minghua to reverse-engineer the trick to the first scroll of Heavenly Dao Demon Scriptures. It wasn't too difficult to use spells to derive divine arts, but he had never heard of anyone succeeding in reverse-engineering divine arts. However, the most terrifying thing in this world was the word, what if? Lin Feng had also seen the scene of Golden Pen Great Sage splitting up the Nine Lights Heaven Crumbling formation. He believed that Golden Pen Great Sage, who had obtained the core of the inner ring, would still be able to expand the complete formation map with time. However, he didn't know how much he would gain from the Taishu Temple, the Enchantress, and the Great Qin Empire. Among them, the one that was worth paying attention to was the Great Qin Empire. It looked like it was the most low-profile, but Lin Feng had learned from a special channel that Emperor Qin's stone feather was preparing an extremely terrifying secret weapon. The incomplete formation map in the outer ring shouldn't be able to deduce the complete 9 lights heaven crumbling formation, but he might be able to find out the marvel of activating the huge power of the 9 stars. In that case, he might be able to complete the secret treasure of the Great Qin Empire earlier. If that was the case, Liang Pan wouldn't be able to relax. His grand imperial palace would have the best opponent. As Lin Feng was thinking, he suddenly felt that the cloud forest tree that he had plucked had some strange movements. He couldn't help but laugh. No matter what happens to them, I've earned big this time. The cyclic purple chi swallowed and released 4 cloud forest trees. These cloud forest trees were originally covered with mushrooms. They were all clones formed by Lady Umbrella's demonic power. When Lin Feng and the rest were plucking the trees, Sword Light opened up a path and forced Lady Umbrella's demonic power to retreat. Now, the mushrooms on the trees had all disappeared, revealing the originally black tree trunk and emerald green leaves. Only one cloud forest tree was an exception. On a certain part of the tree trunk, there were a few mushrooms that were imprisoned by the purple chi. They were left behind by Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked at these mushrooms and slowly said, "Lady Umbrella, welcome to my Jade Capital Mountain as a guest. I hope that one day, your true self will be able to come here." The ochre-brown mushrooms trembled slightly and transformed into the ochre-clothed old woman that Lady Umbrella usually displayed. She stood beside the cloud forest tree and sighed, "Greetings to the master of Daoist Xianmen. If the master of Daoist Xianmen wishes for the fairy spirit dew, this clone of mine is barely able to activate it. However, I had provided it to the Golden Rock Great Sage in the dimensional space. In this aspect, the true self and the clone are one. Therefore, the next time the fairy spirit dew is produced, it will take a long time. I hope that the master of Daoist Xianmen will not blame me." Lin Feng smiled indifferently. "Lady Umbrella, you don't have to be so courteous. Feel free to stay here." Chapter 466. When Lin Feng was uprooting the cloud forest tree, he purposely captured one of Lady Umbrella's doppelgangers. He was after the snow dew of fairy spirit. Even though Lin Feng did not personally witness the scene of Lady Umbrella activating the snow dew of immortal spirit, but after the snow dew of immortal spirit was born, the fragrance that lingered in the air was immediately noticed by Lin Feng. After checking the system, he was pleasantly surprised to find out that this was actually an extremely rare treasure of the world. It could be of great help to primordial soul realm cultivators when they were making a breakthrough, greatly increasing the success rate of breaking through. Naturally, Lin Feng would not let go of such a good thing. When his mana came into contact with the mushroom formed by Lady Umbrella's doppelganger, he immediately understood that Lady Umbrella was the source of the snow dew of fairy spirit. Hence, when he was uprooting the cloud forest tree, he purposely captured one of Lady Umbrella's doppelgangers. Lady Umbrella's reaction was also very fast. Seeing that things were not going well, she quickly retracted her own demonic power. Hence, Yan Mingyue and the rest were unable to capture her doppelgangers. Only Lin Feng was faster and managed to capture one of them. Lady Umbrella was well aware of Lin Feng's intentions in detaining her doppelganger. She was also very straightforward and admitted to it. After all, she had just activated the snow dew of fairy spirit for the Golden Rock Great Sage. Even if she were to be tortured, she would not be able to extract any more snow dew of fairy spirit. Her doppelgangers could activate the snow dew of fairy spirit just like her main body. However, they were symbiotic. Once one of them activated the snow dew, they would not be able to produce a new precious medicine for a certain period of time. They could only wait together for the next opportunity. Lin Feng understood this as well. He was not in a hurry. He would first capture Lady Umbrella and then slowly come up with a plan. When it was time to take action, he would have to fight with the Enchantress of Infinite Wasteland. The Enchantress was guarding Lady Umbrella's main body. Naturally, he would not allow Lin Feng to extract the snow dew of fairy spirit so easily. After using his mana to send Lady Umbrella to a stone chamber in a cave on the mountain, Lin Feng once again looked at the cloud forest tree that he had uprooted. Lin Feng thought for a while. Small things will last. I have to leave one intact and try my best to cultivate it. Originally, when the dimensional world was destroyed, the cloud forest tree lost its foundation and soil, so it was hard to avoid being harmed by the world's nirvana. Lin Feng didn't dare to be negligent, using the universe purple chi to pick up a cloud forest tree and arriving at the Medicine Valley on Jade Capital Mountain. The lucky child was directly taken out of the mysterious Heaven-Time Light Grotto by him, crying and throwing a tantrum. Lin Feng directly sealed its mouth with true sun fire, and the earthy yellow fat baby immediately beamed with joy as he ate. He only wanted to eat to his heart's content. After he finished eating, he rolled around on the ground in pain while clutching his stomach. Then, he turned into a pile of spirit soil. After being nurtured by Lucky Baby a few times, the spiritual energy in the medicinal valley was already quite abundant. At this moment, when the Lucky Baby spirit soil was spread on top, it instantly became even more fertile. Lin Feng planted the best-looking cloud forest tree in his possession. The roots of the cloud forest tree went deep into the soil. It absorbed Ling Qi and turned it into its own life force. Lin Feng pointed and a green stream of water flew into the soil. It was the moon water. It was good at giving birth. After being absorbed by the cloud forest tree, the Ling Qi in the ancient tree became more abundant. The tree trunk shook. Its leaves fluttered and rustled. It was as if something in deep sleep was waking up. The sound of thunder came from the void. Lin Feng woke up. Under my cultivation, the cloud forest tree is going to regain its consciousness and become a demon. The cloud forest tree had lived in the medium dimension for many years. It had accumulated a large amount of Ling Qi. The amount of Ling Qi in its body was much higher than that of a demon king. It was comparable to a demon race great sage in the undying demon soul realm. It was just that there was no void thunder tribulation in the medium dimension. It was unable to form its nascent soul and stayed at the peak of the demon martial realm. In the end, it fell into the hands of Golden Rock Great Sage and Cheongqi Great Sage. It was like a fat man without strength. It could only be slaughtered. Now that Lin Feng had cultivated it with the moon water and heavenly luck spirit soil, the cloud forest tree was going to regain its consciousness and become a demon. The tree had accumulated too much. Once it became a demon, it would be able to go through the thunder tribulation in the divine land and form its demon nascent soul. After that, the demon king middle stage and demon king late stage would be like a hot knife through butter. In the end, it might even break through to the undying demon soul realm. Lin Feng thought about it. With his current strength, even if the cloud forest tree demon formed an undying demon soul, it wouldn't be able to do much. Lin Feng had enough confidence and magnanimity to allow the cloud forest tree demon to exist. But other than the ancient tree in front of him, Lin Feng had almost made arrangements for the other cloud forest trees. He didn't plan to continue planting them. Instead, he wanted to refine them. If the cloudy forest tree in front of him becomes a demon and has its own consciousness, seeing its former kin being refined, it will inevitably become sentimental. Lin Feng is not afraid of him rebelling, but there really is no need to find unnecessary trouble for himself. In the future, this tree might become a demon, but there was no need for that now. Thinking of this, Lin Feng raised his hand and chopped in the air. Under the effect of the celestial world barrier, the cloud forest tree demon's self-consciousness fell into silence again. The heavenly luck spirit soil turned back into a chubby baby and went back to sleep in the mysterious sky time light cave. This little rascal was a typical person who wanted to eat all day. After eating, he would exercise a little and then fall asleep. Lin Feng smiled and shook his head. He left the Medicine Valley and continued to check his spoils of war. What he was more concerned about was the heavenly scallion golden bead that had suddenly changed. He took it out and observed it in detail. He saw that there was a faint purple light flashing in the originally pure golden mist inside the bead. Lin Feng used his magic power to explore and discovered that this purple light wasn't Yude Minghua. To be more accurate, it was more like the aura of Yude Minghua. However, Just the aura alone was enough to make one's heart palpitate. And through this aura, Lin Feng could faintly feel that this heavenly scallion golden bead was truly related to the Yuhuang celestial sea of the past. Lin Feng frowned slightly. Taishu Temple knew of this treasure's existence, but it was understandable for them to treat it as an ordinary treasure. After all, it was only a rumor and they hadn't come into contact with it. There were many such rumors, and they were all rumors. However, did the enchantress know about it? From how she calculated that great sage Dinggu coveted the wind god sect, she probably knew about the existence of the heavenly scallion golden bead. Why did she let go of this precious bead? Lin Feng's heart stirred slightly. He took out a crystal that was flashing with purple light. It was sparkling and translucent, giving off a faint glow. This was one of the 9 treasures that Golden Rock Great Sage and Great Sage Cheongqi had used to lay out the 9 glory sky-shattering formation. It had fallen into Lin Feng's hands. The heavenly mirage golden bead was placed together with the purple crystal. Instantly, the purple light in the bead flashed violently, as though it wanted to rush out of the heavenly mirage golden bead and meet up with the purple crystal. The light on the surface of the purple crystal also blazed intensely, flashing non-stop. Lin Feng's gaze narrowed slightly. He used his magic power to examine the purple crystal, and his consciousness suddenly felt a chill. It wasn't truly cold, but the purple crystal was actually a rare item of pure yin. It didn't have any yang qi at all. In heaven and earth, although items of pure yin and yang weren't unique, they were extremely rare. For example, the great yin true water was extremely yin and soft, but when yin was extreme, it would give birth to yang, which also contained yang qi. However, the purple crystal was condensed from pure yin qi, and even if it was used to the extreme, it wouldn't turn into yang. The great Tao was all things, and yin and yang coexisted. This was the principle of the heavenly Tao, and all creations couldn't avoid it. However, there were always exceptions to everything, and the rare few items of pure yang and pure yin were special cases. They were like the 2 extremes of heaven and earth, and although they seemed to defy common sense, they actually faintly conformed with the heavenly Tao. The purple crystal was such a treasure, and what was even more amazing was that it was related to Yude Minghua. Purple light flashed in the heavenly mirage golden bead, and a terrifying aura spread out from it. When it came into contact with the purple crystal, it instantly shone brightly. Lin Feng's consciousness swept over, and images instantly appeared in front of his eyes. There was an incomparably vast palace that had a majestic aura. It was simple and desolate, and it could be seen that no one had lived in it for a long time. However, the palace didn't seem old at all, as if there was a powerful invisible force protecting it. Suddenly, a golden-winged rock entered the palace, and its body shrunk greatly. It landed on the ground, and a pair of cold black eyes flashed with a demonic golden light as it stared straight at Lin Feng. Actually, it wasn't looking at Lin Feng, but at the purple crystal. The images that Lin Feng was seeing were precisely the experiences recorded by the purple crystal. And this golden-winged rock, Lin Feng could recognize it with a single glance. It was the Golden Rock Great Sage that he had just met. The Golden Rock Great Sage slowly walked closer, and his deep voice echoed in the palace. Netherflower purple crystal, an accessory that Yu Huang wore in the past, maybe. In the next instant, the netherflower purple crystal was collected by the Golden Rock Great Sage, and the image in front of Lin Feng returned to darkness. Looks like that palace is the side palace of Yu Huang's celestial sea. Long Yi said that the clue that the Golden Rock Great Sage had obtained was this netherflower purple crystal in front of me. Recalling the conversation with Long Yi previously, Lin Feng understood. He examined the netherflower purple crystal in detail, and he discovered that other than the extremely dense yin qi, there was nothing else. Looks like the things inside have already been purified by the Golden Rock Great Sage, so he handed this item to Cheongqi to lay out the 9 lights heaven-shattering formation. As Lin Feng was thinking, he saw the purple light in the heavenly scallion golden bead flickering non-stop, and it gradually became weaker. Meanwhile, the terrifying aura of the Yude netherflower purple crystal had completely poured into the netherflower purple crystal. Oh, looks like there's more. Lin Feng's gaze flickered, and he weighed the netherflower purple crystal in his hand. I'll slowly study it in the future. This kind of item of pure yin isn't common, and it can be used for my life and death formation. The life and death formation had a layer of transformation in the 6 paths of life and death, and it was called the transformation of yin and yang. The most suitable item to lay out the formation was a treasure of pure yin and pure yang. In the 9 lights heaven-shattering formation, this treasure originally existed as a vessel for the power of the moon and moon. Lin Feng smiled, and his gaze moved from the netherflower purple crystal to a seal platform. This seal platform looked ordinary, and its color was pitch black, but it gave off an unshakable and powerful concept that suppressed everything. It was incomparably heavy. It was as if the peak of an immemorial divine mountain had been shaved off, and it could overturn the 9 heavens and suppress the 10 earths. Lin Feng said with a smile, "Golden Rock, Cheongqi, you guys are truly too courteous. How can I accept this?" Chapter 467. Lin Feng had to admit that the treasures used by Golden Rock Great Sage and Cheongqi Great Sage to set up the 9 Glory Sky collapsing formation were of a much higher quality than the treasures on the North Wind Sea. In the 9 Glory Sky collapsing formation, the square stamp platform was the vessel for the power of Tun Xing. It was a magic treasure embryo. If he was right, this square stamp platform was indeed the peak of an ancient divine mountain. The 9 treasures used to set up the 9 Glory Sky collapsing formation were of different quality. For example, the solar treasure was a solar essence stone, the fluorescent fire treasure was the essence of Qian Yuan fire, and the wood treasure was the root of a 10,000-year-old ancient willow. Although they were all good, they were obviously inferior to the dark flower amethyst and the square stamp platform. When Lin Feng collected the treasures, he picked the best ones. He had 5 of the 9 glory treasures, and each of them was extraordinary. He had really made a fortune. It's really heavy. Lin Feng grinned. Just this square seal platform, it doesn't look big but it's much heavier than the cloud forest tree that's thousands of feet tall. Lin Feng can only barely lift it with his own mana. Looking at the square stamp platform, Lin Feng thought for a while and took out his Kunpeng Palace. Then, he took out the broken Tianfeng treasure fan from Dao Master Tianfeng. He put the 3 things side by side and tried to figure out the different power concepts in them. After a while, an idea came to Lin Feng. He smiled and put the things away. Other than the netherflower amethyst and the black stamp platform, Lin Feng's gaze turned and landed on a stone tablet. This is also one of the 9 luminaries' treasures. It is set up in the 9 luminaries' sky-shattering formation and is used to bear the endless star power of hidden star Ketu. Among the 9 glory treasures, Ketu was the opposite of the lunar star. It was the dark star of the lunar star and contained infinite disasters. And this stone tablet in front of Lin Feng gave him an ominous feeling of disaster. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows. Oh. This is not a treasure from the demon realm, but a treasure refined by a human cultivator. Or is it a magic treasure? Lin Feng's divine sense swept out, but he could not sense the existence of the magic treasure's primordial spirit. But it doesn't look like it was damaged. The primordial spirit of a magic treasure should not have been destroyed. Its power and concept are both genuine magic treasures. He sent his magic power into it, only to feel his consciousness enter an endless darkness. There was no sound, no light, no sense of the existence of space, and no sense of the flow of time. There was only a boundless fear and the aura of a great disaster. It was like a world without any light, plunged into eternal darkness. When Lin Feng's magic power penetrated deep into it, he could faintly feel a consciousness that had fallen into a deep slumber. The other party was in a deep slumber, but because of Lin Feng's arrival, there were faint signs of it waking up. I see. The power and concept contained in this magic treasure is eternal night and endless sleep. The magic treasure's primordial spirit is also in a state of automatic sleep. It will not wake up unless it is disturbed by external forces. Lin Feng understood. He looked at the stone tablet carefully and saw that there were only 2 big words written on it. Eternal night. What intrigued him the most was that this magic treasure was actually refined using a human cultivator's devil Dao cultivation method. The divine land was now prosperous, and the demonic path was declining. The demonic path sects were not having a good time. They were all rats that everyone wanted to beat up. Even a super sect like the reincarnation sect was washed clean. As for the other demonic sects, even if they had a few powerful figures and could shine for a while, they could not avoid the fate of being suppressed and destroyed. Therefore, in the vast land of the divine continent and the human cultivation world, the devil sect's Dao techniques, magic treasures, and magic tools were already relatively rare. A magic treasure of the devil path like this, which still had the original spirit of the magic treasure, and its power was intact, could be said to be quite rare. Lin Feng guessed that this was most likely left behind in the Eternal Night Devil Steel when a primordial soul expert of the demonic path died in the Infinite Wasteland during the war between the two worlds. In the end, this Eternal Night Devil Steel ended up in the hands of the Golden Rock Great Sage or the Cheongqi Great Sage. Then, it was used as a magic treasure to set up the 9 Glory Sky Crumbling Array. After thinking for a while, Lin Feng sealed the Eternal Night Devil Steel with the cyclic purple qi. After putting away the Eternal Night Devil Steel, Lin Feng picked up a blue pearl. This pearl was much bigger than the heavenly scarlet golden pearl. The heavenly scarlet golden pearl was only the size of a fist, but this pearl looked like the crystal ball that the witch used for divination in Lin Feng's previous life. Inside the pearl, blue light surged, and one could vaguely hear the sound of the rising and falling tides. This pearl seemed to contain the water of the 5 lakes and 4 oceans. Lin Feng scanned it with his divine sense and knew that the water-type spiritual energy contained in it was absolutely shocking. This thing is a little familiar. I seem to have seen it in the system before. As Lin Feng thought about it, his consciousness entered the system. After checking, he indeed saw the same thing. Water Spirit Heaven Pearl, I said that I should have seen it before. Lin Feng held the Water Spirit Sky Pearl in his palm, bringing it up to his eyes and looking at it, slightly nodding his head, and, to people who cultivate water Dao techniques, its value is probably not lower than a cloud forest tree. However, to Lin Feng, this Water Spirit Heaven Pearl was far less attractive than the other item. That was the last 9 glory treasure that he had obtained. At the same time, it was also the most valuable item. It was also the main target of Lin Feng's trip to the cloudy forest world. A completely pitch-black skeleton of a wild beast. This skeleton was not very large. It was only around 3 meters long. The skeleton was completely black and did not shine. Instead, all light that tried to get close to it would be devoured by this extreme darkness. There was only a small chance of a dark blue aura spiraling around the dark skeleton and did not dissipate for a long time. Although it was just a skeleton, the powerful aura that it exuded made anyone who saw it feel their heart palpitate. Ordinary people could not even look directly at it. Otherwise, their gaze would be stuck in the dark power concept of the skeleton until even their soul was devoured. Lin Feng looked at this skeleton, silently laughing. This is exactly his target, an incomparably complete skeleton, not even missing a toe bone, not even missing a tooth, the skeleton left behind by the great demon Ming Du, who once achieved an indestructible demon soul when he was alive. Ming Du, a primordial great demon, king of darkness. It was a super ferocious beast that grasped the most original and strongest dark power concept in the world. It looked like a leopard with a single horn on its head. Its entire body was pitch black and there were stripes of bluish-purple patterns on its body. The Ming Du tribe had almost disappeared in the long river of history. Even in infinite wilderness, there had not been a Ming Du in the world for thousands of years. To be able to obtain such a complete Ming Du skeleton was definitely something that could only be encountered by chance. Lin Feng really could not help but praise Golden Rock Great Sage and Cheongqi Great Sage. Lin Feng used his spiritual power and divine sense to explore the Ming Du skeleton. He did not try to dispel the dark power in the skeleton, but tried to keep his spiritual power peaceful and integrated with the dark world. Sure enough, something strange happened. The darkness that originally contained an endless aura of disaster and destruction suddenly became less terrifying. Instead, it seemed peaceful, auspicious, calm, and even warm. There was no murderous aura, no aura of disaster. The initial ominous feeling that made one's heart palpitate had all disappeared. Lin Feng felt as if he had returned to the state of a fetus and returned to his mother's womb. He was ignorant and had no thoughts, but he was the closest to the Khanate Great Tao. It was as if he had returned to the primordial chaotic darkness before the creation of the world. It nourished the Khanate Qi, nurtured the creation of all living beings, and made perfect preparations for the creation of the world. This was not a false illusion or malicious deception. It was true peace and harmony that nurtured all living beings. So it is like this. My understanding of the darkness is correct. Lin Feng thought silently, the darkness has the power of destruction and silence. It also has the power of transforming all living beings, nurturing creation, and peaceful like the mother of all living beings. The difference was that if you chose to merge with the darkness, then the darkness would be the most benevolent and generous mother. It would help you to cultivate and grow. Here, you would be free, peaceful, and peaceful. But if you tried to destroy the darkness, then the darkness would immediately transform into the cruelest terminator and destroy you. Lin Feng had no doubt that if he dared to use the power of the Buddha's infinite light Buddha scripture, he would immediately be chased to death by the boundless darkness. The entire dark world would go berserk, and it would become the end of the world. With just this thought in his mind, Lin Feng felt that the power of darkness was about to change. He withdrew his spiritual power from the solitary dark skeleton and meditated for a moment before opening his eyes. Darkness and light are indeed two extremely superior powers. It is very beneficial to comprehend and cultivate. Lin Feng waved his hand and kept the solitary dark skeleton into the diagram of the yin and yang life and death formation. At the same time, he also sent in the pure yin treasure, the dark flower amethyst. With so many good things, my preparation is more adequate, Lin Feng muttered to himself. The system has also saved quite a lot from the lottery. It is enough for me to play a big game. Lin Feng looked at the remaining 3 cloud forest trees and picked up one of them, weighing it in his hand. This one then. Other than the many treasures and immortal spirit snow dew, the biggest harvest this time was these cloud forest trees. Other than the one with the best appearance, the remaining 7 cloud forest trees, Lin Feng planned to directly refine them. The vast amount of spiritual energy in the cloud forest trees would greatly reduce the cultivation cost of Xianmen Tianzong and the others. Xiao Yan, Zhu Yi, Shi Tianhao, and Yu Hongyan each plucked one. These 4 cloud forest trees belonged to them. How to deal with them was up to them. For Xiao Yan and the others, what they lacked the least was talent and potential, what they lacked the most was time. Given enough time, they could naturally grow to the point where they could blind everyone's eyes. It was just that the spiritual energy in the cloud forest trees was too abundant. With their current cultivation, it was still too early for them to absorb all of it. But it would undoubtedly speed up their cultivation process. Wang Lin and Yang Qing were not on the mountain this time, so they temporarily missed this opportunity. It was fine. Lin Feng specially left behind the cloud forest tree with the best appearance for a long time. As for the remaining 3 cloud forest trees, Lin Feng would also use one for himself. The other 2 had other uses. For example, the elder of the Great Thunderclap Monastery, Monk Dade, who was on his last breath and his primordial spirit golden body was almost destroyed. Chapter 468. When the strong practitioners had wrestled back then, the disc containing Yuda Minghua had been destroyed, and everyone in the sacred fire sacrifice on the disc had met with misfortune. Long Yi and Heavenly Wolf Great Sage were fine. With the replenishment of the essence of the cloud forest tree, they could protect themselves. However, the strong practitioners of the human race were caught in the crossfire. Their essence, qi, and spirit were burned by the sacred fire sacrifice, and their primordial spirits were on the verge of collapsing. Even if they were left alone, if they didn't receive treatment in time, they might perish on their own. not to mention the imminent disaster of the disc collapsing. When Lin Feng saw the situation, he took the opportunity when the others were fighting for Yude Minghua to save Monk Dade, King Anliang Shi Zongyue, and Dao Venerable Xing Do. Sword Venerable Guan Chong was also saved by the sect master of Mount Shu Sword Sect, Xian Longsheng. However, just saving them was useless. These people were still in an extremely dangerous state, on the verge of perishing. Lin Feng could only temporarily use the heavenly cycle purple qi to maintain their primordial spirits, so they wouldn't perish immediately. He first came to Monk Dade, and the old monk sat cross-legged with a madra. His expression was serene and calm, and his skin was covered in a layer of faint gold. He was like a Buddha statue, but this Buddha statue was covered in cracks as though it could shatter at any time. Monk Dade opened his eyes, and when he saw Lin Feng, he smiled slightly. "My Buddha is merciful, you must be the master of Profound Gate, right? It's my fortune to meet you today, it can be considered fate. This poor monk greets you." Lin Feng looked at him and asked, from master's tone, "You seem to have known me before today." Monk Dade said with a smile, "The influence of the master of Profound Gate is like thunder piercing the ears in the divine land today. Even though this poor monk is an outsider, I've also heard of you before. However, just as the master of Profound Gate had said, before your name had spread far and wide, this poor monk had already heard of your name." Lin Feng revealed a faint smile. "In the past, I've met two disciples of Great Thunderclap Monastery. One was called Huikong, and the other was Huku. I wonder how they are related to master." Monk Dade nodded his head. This poor monk had met Huikong before, and he had mentioned you before. "That little monk Huikong is still searching for Saraira?" Lin Feng calmly asked. Zen Master Dade replied, "That's right. He is a sincere person and has never given up." Lin Feng's expression did not change as he said, "If you can contact him, tell him that I have found the 24 relics that Hui Ku lost in the past and sent them back to the pagoda forest at the back of the Great Thunderclap Temple for burial." Zen Master Dade, who had always been calm and collected, was also stunned at this moment. His eyes revealed a pleasantly surprised expression as he looked at Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded and continued, "Not only the 24 relics, but also the relics left behind by an eminent monk who cultivated the unmoving Rilai Sutra. They fell into the hands of the cultivators of the Tianqi sect and were later obtained by me. I have also sent them back to the Great Leiyin Temple for burial." He opened his palm, and the 16 relics were laid out peacefully. "The 16 relics carried by the monk Yuan Xiang that you chased this time are also here. I originally planned to send them back to the ruins of the Great Thunderclap Monastery. We have arrived." As he spoke, Yujing Mountain escaped from the void. With a sweep of his mana, Lin Feng brought Zen Master Dade to the mountain range where the Great Thunderclap Monastery used to be. Zen Master Dade looked at the ruins of the Great Thunderclap Monastery and the relics in Lin Feng's palm. He was in a daze and did not speak. Lin Feng held the relics and looked at Zen Master Dade. He said, "In order to prevent the power of the relics from fluctuating, I have sealed them with my own mana. Since you are here now, it is not convenient for me to overstep my boundaries. I will leave it to you to deal with." Zen Master Dade put his palms together and chanted the name of Buddha in a low voice. "Buddha is merciful. The relics can return to the Thunderclap Pure Land all thanks to the master of Taoist Xianmen. I am the one who should not overstep my boundaries. Please complete this merit, master." Lin Feng smiled and waved his hand. A large hole strangely appeared in the ground. After he threw the relics in, a system notification rang in his ear. 16 relics have returned to the Great Thunderclap Monastery's Pure Land of Bliss with the help of the host. Return to Bliss side mission completion rate 16/1988. Host has received a Buddhist scripture as a reward. Lin Feng was startled. Is it because the difficulty of this mission is too high? As long as I return a portion of the relics, I can receive a reward. No matter what, to be able to receive a reward, Lin Feng was still very happy. He opened the gift bag and saw a Buddhist scripture of the Subodhi Sutra. "Oh, this is a Buddhist scripture. It is about the same level as the Ksitigarbha Sutra and the Art of Akala, but it is lower than the Five-Direction Buddha Sutra. Lin Feng glanced at it and knew that this Subodhi Sutra was also a Buddhist scripture of the Great Thunderclap Monastery. Among the Buddhist scriptures of the Great Thunderclap Monastery, the Five-Direction Buddha Sutra was the highest. Other than that, there were other Buddhist scriptures. The Art of Akala and the Subodhi Sutra were the best of the best. To the current Lin Feng, the Subodhi Sutra wasn't very useful. Among the Buddhist scriptures, only the Five-Direction Buddha Sutra could give him help and reference. Buddhist scriptures of the level of the Subodhi Sutra could only be used to fill up the library. But what made Lin Feng pay more attention was that this Subodhi Sutra was the complete version. From the general outline to all the scriptures and even combat techniques, it had everything. I've sent 16 relics back this time, and the system rewarded me with a Subodhi Sutra. What if I collect 160 relics and send them back for burial? Would I be rewarded with a Buddha Sutra? Lin Feng thought to himself, or is it that after accumulating to a certain level, the rewards will get better and better? While thinking, Lin Feng turned to look at Zen Master Dade. He formed a spell and refined a cloud forest tree, turning it into a ball of white light that wasn't dazzling but was incomparably thick. Lin Feng extracted large amounts of essence energy from this ball of white light and injected it into Zen Master Dade's body. Zen Master Dade was startled but didn't say anything. He closed his eyes and accepted Lin Feng's good intentions, focusing on refining this vast amount of spiritual energy. The cracks on the surface of his body that were like spiderwebs were quickly repaired. The golden Buddhist light on his body became stronger and stronger until it gradually turned back into a golden Buddha, emitting boundless light. Lin Feng looked at the golden Buddha in front of him. He saw 8 peacocks lifting up his body, his right hand holding a lotus and his left hand holding a bell. His expression was emotionless and his entire body was emitting light, emitting boundless light. Is this the golden body of Buddhism condensed from the boundless light Rulai scripture to form an essence soul? Lin Feng's gaze flickered as he looked at the golden Buddha silently. He saw the Buddhist light on the Buddha's body gradually change, the golden color slowly fading away, leaving behind only the purest, most original light. Just by looking at this golden Buddha and feeling the concept of power within, then referring to the great light mantra of the Buddhist Sutra of Infinite Light that he had grasped, Lin Feng felt that he had actually slowly figured out the true meaning of the Amitabha Sutra of the Buddhist Sutra of Infinite Light. After a long while, Zen Master Dade dispersed the golden Buddha golden body and returned to his original appearance. His complexion was no longer ashen like before, but he still appeared weak. He didn't obtain the entire cloud forest tree like Long Yi and the heavenly wolf great sage, but the essence energy he obtained was already enough for him to stabilize his golden primordial spirit. Thank you, Master of Xian Gate, for lending a helping hand. Zen Master Dade put his palms together and sincerely thanked Lin Feng. I am even more grateful to Master of Xian Gate for helping the relics of my Buddhist seniors return to the pure land of Great Thunderclap. Lin Feng silently said, Master, no need to be so courteous. Reborn in pure land, those who are sleeping in peace should not be disturbed again. I passed by your temple's ruined pagoda forest earlier and felt something. I have already decided to search for the lost relics of your temple and send them back to the Great Thunderclap Temple for burial. If I have any gains in the future, I will send them back to the Great Thunderclap Temple for burial. Hearing this, Zen Master Dade nodded repeatedly. Master of Xian Gate's virtue is immeasurable, this poor monk is endlessly grateful. He looked around, looking at the ruined temple that had already turned into ruins and sighed, when a person dies, the lamp goes out, entering reincarnation once again is just another cultivation. The body is just a stinky bag, it's just what it looks like. This poor monk always comforts himself like this, but when I think of the relics of the Buddhist seniors being desecrated by others, I can't bear it. After all, my cultivation is still not enough. Lin Feng smiled faintly. To see one's nature, to discern one's true self, the bag can be empty, but it can also not be empty. Zen Master Dade also smiled. Master of Xian Gate is right, this poor monk has learned. Lin Feng asked, Master, what do you plan to do next? This poor monk has a presumptuous request. After hesitating for a moment, Zen Master Dade put his palms together, bowing towards Lin Feng. This poor monk hopes to be able to work together with the Master of the Celestial Gate to search for our Buddhist relics, to send the remains of our senior monks back to paradise. The great Lane Temple has already been destroyed. Everything is set in stone. I do not wish for the revival of Buddhism. Therefore, I hope that I can serve under the Master of the Celestial Sect of Xian Men. I am willing to serve the Celestial Sect of Xian Men in order to repay the Master of the Celestial Sect of Xian Men for saving my life and protecting my Buddhist relic. Zen Master Dade put his palms together and bowed to Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked at him and smiled. Master, you're too polite. You don't have to mention joining me. If you're willing, you can be a guest in my Xian Gate. The Great Lane Temple's 10,000-year-old ancient temple has suffered a calamity. I'm also very sad. I don't want you to leave Buddhism. I'm also fated with Buddhism. Since that's the case, let's form another connection. Zen Master Dade nodded. Master of Xian Gate is magnanimous, this poor monk can't thank you enough. Lin Feng smiled. Keeping Zen Master Dade was a matter of pros and cons. There was actually a deeper reason why the Tempest Temple had become the target of public criticism in the past. Other than being at odds with the Great Zhou Dynasty, Taishu Temple and Mount Shu Sword Sect had joined the war to destroy Buddhism. As far as Lin Feng knew, it was not a simple conflict of interests. If he took in a Buddhist disciple who had survived the calamity now, there might be hidden dangers in the future. But the benefits were also very obvious. Not to mention that his sect had an additional guest in the primordial divinity level, which strengthened the sect's strength. At the same time, it was more likely to get the complete Infinite Light Buddha Sutra. This was also a matter of buying a horse's bones with 1,000 gold coins. After the Tempest Temple was destroyed, Zen Master Dade was not the only primordial divinity level Buddhist almighty who escaped. Although they were scattered, they were still a force when they gathered together. Lin Feng believed that Zen Master Dade and the others would be in contact with each other. As for the hidden dangers that might come in the future, Lin Feng had a rough idea. Disasters and blessings go hand in hand. If handled properly, not only will there be no harm, but there will also be unexpected gains. Chapter 469. Monk Dade was considered a guest of worship. Unlike protector elders like Kang Nanhua and Miao Shihao, he had more freedom, but his relationship with the sect was relatively estranged. To outsiders, Kang Nanhua and Miao Shihao could call themselves Xianmen Tianzong, while Monk Dade still belonged to the Tempest Temple. It's just that right now the Great Thunder Temple has long since been destroyed. Existing is equivalent to non-existent. That's why Monk Dade can also be counted as a member of the Xianmen Heavenly Sect. Lin Feng allowing him to not leave Buddhism is to help Monk Dade preserve a portion of the past relationship with his sect. For Monk Dade, this was the best result. He was naturally grateful for Lin Feng's magnanimity. He was a kind person and had decided to repay Lin Feng and Xianmen Tianzong in the future. Seeing him like this, Lin Feng could not help but smile in his heart, adding fuel to the fire. Returning to Jade Capital Mountain, he brought Monk Dade into the Tower of Scriptures. In a corner of the library on the first floor of the Tower of Scriptures were many scriptures, all of which were Buddhist scriptures. Lin Feng had specially opened up a corner to store them separately. Monk Dade caressed these scriptures with his palm, his eyes revealing a nostalgic expression. He was clearly thinking of the Tempest Temple's Tower of Scriptures. Lin Feng said lightly, other than collecting relics and sending them back to the Tempest Temple for reburial, I also came across some Buddhist scriptures by accident, so I collected them here and sorted them out and stored them, hoping to recreate the Tempest Temple's Buddhist scriptures. Although the Tempest Temple has been destroyed, as long as the scriptures passed down are not lost, there may be a day when it will rise again. Monk Dade took a deep breath and turned to Lin Feng, putting his palms together. Sect Master, your merit is immeasurable. All the Buddhist disciples in the world are grateful. He turned to stare at a scripture and sighed. Buddha is merciful. The last time I saw the Mahavirokana scripture was before the war between the two worlds. After that great battle, countless elders of the sect passed away, and the sutra library was also destroyed, causing this sutra to be lost. Slowly, Zen Master Dade shook his head and praised, "I thought that I would never be able to see this Vairocana scripture again in my life. Although it's missing the Vairocana palm seal, it's already extremely rare." Zen Master Dade murmured, "On behalf of all the Buddhist and Taoist disciples, I thank Sovereign for allowing this scripture to reappear in the world." Zen Master Dade looked at the Vairocana Sutra in front of him, the unmovable Vairocana Sutra, the infinite light Vairocana Sutra, the art of Akala, the Subhuti Sutra, the Ksitigarbha Sutra. These were all the top Buddhist spells of the great Thunderclap Monastery in the past. Now that they were all gathered together, even the Zen heart that Zen Master Dade had cultivated for many years was stirred at this moment. Thinking of the tragic scene when the great Leyin temple was destroyed, he actually had the urge to cry. Lin Feng smiled and said, "If there are any gains in the future, I'll leave them all to you to sort out. What do you think?" Zen Master Dade nodded and said solemnly, "Thank you, Sovereign." Lin Feng and Zen Master Dade left the Sutra's depository and chose a cave residence on Yujing Mountain for him to live in. He also extracted a part of the essence of the cloud forest tree so that he could continue to recuperate and cultivate in peace. As a Buddhist cultivator, Zen Master Dade mainly cultivated himself. His own strength and state of mind were strong, so when faced with the sacred fire ritual, he had more resistance. But after that, he cultivated with the essence of the cloud forest tree and borrowed external forces to restore his own essence, chi, and spirit, which was much more difficult. This was a slow process and could only rely on Zen Master Dade to recuperate himself. After Lin Feng sent Zen Master Dade back to the stone room to rest, he extracted 2 balls of essence from the cloud forest tree. Then he spread his sleeve and purple gas surged, releasing Shizong Yue and Xing Do Dao Master. The 2 of them were also tortured by the sacred fire sacrificed to the point of death. Prince and Liang Shizong Yue was slightly better, but Star Do Dao Master was already exhaling more than he inhaled. He was half a step away from the collapse of his primordial spirit. In this case, Lin Feng could not even directly inject the essence of the cloud forest tree into Xing Do Dao Master's primordial spirit, otherwise the old man would not be able to take it. He first used the universal sky purple chi and the dharma power of the Taiyin true water to nourish Xing Do Dao Master's primordial spirit, and then slowly integrated the massive heaven and earth spiritual chi extracted from the cloud forest tree into Xing Do Dao Master's primordial spirit. Xing Do Dao Master was already on the verge of death. After a long time, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. After waking up, he did not dare to hesitate and quickly manifested his primordial spirit incarnation. He carefully refined and absorbed the massive essence to repair his primordial spirit. The essence of the cloud forest tree was only a resource to repair the primordial spirit. To repair the primordial spirit, the cultivators still needed to use the Taoist law. Xing Do Dao Master's primordial spirit turned into a dark galaxy. At first, there were only a few faint flashes of starlight, and the light was extremely weak, as if it could disappear at any time. As time went by, the starlight gradually brightened, and the number increased until finally, it turned into a galaxy again. Countless stars flickered endlessly. Although it was far less dazzling than when it was in its heyday, Xing Do Dao Master had obviously escaped from the danger of death. On the other side, Shizong Yue's situation was much better. With the supply of the cloud forest tree essence, his essence, chi, and spirit recovered rapidly. However, he did not display his primordial spirit incarnation, which was the image of the Red Dragon Emperor with a dragon head and a human body. Instead, he manifested into the image of a 3 feet tall giant with a crown on his head and a majestic aura. He wore a fiery red robe, and when he opened and closed his eyes, endless flames spurted out and turned into rolling red clouds. In the red clouds, there were constantly red light dragons swaying up and down. This red-robed giant sat cross-legged in the void, exuding a strange atmosphere, as if it was incompatible with the world in front of him. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. Is this the void return Dharma body that Shizong Yue comprehended according to the Red Dragon Emperor's cultivation? There were 3 realms of the demon clan's immortal demon soul. The first was the immortal demon soul, the second was the primordial true spirit, and the third was the star soul fusion. After the human clan cultivator achieved the primordial spirit, there were also 3 realms. The first was to refine the chi into spirit and obtain the primordial spirit incarnation. The second was to refine the spirit into void and obtain the void return dharma body. The third was to refine the void return dharma body. Before the primordial spirit realm, although there were chi refining stage, foundation establishment stage, golden elixir period, and yuaniing stage, in the end, they could all be collectively referred to as chi cultivators. Chi cultivators were life born from nature, so there would be a limit to their lifespan. Once the limit was reached, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Only by breaking through the limit and achieving the primordial spirit could one obtain a carefree and eternal life. The first realm of the primordial spirit realm, the primordial spirit incarnation stage, was to completely change the life form of a cultivator. It made it so that the cultivator no longer needed to absorb the spiritual chi of heaven and earth into his body to cultivate. Instead, he could integrate himself into the spiritual chi of heaven and earth, becoming a part of the world. Being one with the world, one's lifespan was endless. Living as long as the world, unless the world was destroyed, one would follow it to the end. Otherwise, one's lifespan was naturally endless. However, this kind of integration and connection was still weak. It was established through the great Tao nomological laws that the cultivator comprehended the moment he achieved the primordial spirit. It was not truly the case that the world was one with him, and he was one with the world. Therefore, it was still possible for him to be killed by a powerful external force. Because the world was one, all the spiritual chi of heaven and earth could be freely transformed into one's own dharma power. Therefore, primordial spirit cultivators generally did not face the problem of dharma power exhaustion. This was unless there was an even stronger expert who used a powerful divine ability to temporarily cut off the connection between the primordial spirit cultivator and the world. For example, the sacred fire sacrificial rite that Golden Rock Great Sage had performed was like this. Once the primordial spirit incarnation of a cultivator was damaged, it would also cause the integration of the primordial spirit with the world to no longer be perfect. At this time, it would be impossible to mobilize the spiritual chi of heaven and earth to repair the body. This was the case for Shi Zhongyue, Tao Master Xing Do, and the others, which was why they needed the spiritual chi of the cloud forest tree to replenish themselves. After the injury was healed, the primordial spirit would once again integrate with the world, and the essence, chi, and spirit that had been obliterated would quickly be restored. The primordial spirit incarnation was often the embodiment of the will of the cultivator's dharma access. And the next step for the primordial spirit incarnation was to refine the primordial spirit into the void. The condensation of the void dharma body was different from the primordial spirit incarnation that integrated with the world. Refining the primordial spirit into the void was a process of destruction and reconstruction. It was to jump out of the world, understand the true meaning of the great Tao, and form a world of its own. It was no longer attached to the world of heaven and earth, but to truly have an independent self. Celestial being, man was always in the world, and refining the primordial spirit into the void was the starting point from which man and heaven began to exist equally. Previously, when Lin Feng had tricked Xiao Yan into refining medicine, he had once said that everything in the world, no matter who it was an independent individual and different from the rest. But if one were to look at it from the perspective of the world, they were just a part of the creation of all living beings. Cultivation was so that one could transcend the ordinary life of the masses. Even from the macro perspective of the world of creation, one was still different from the rest. At that time, the purpose of saying these words was indeed to trick Xiao Yan, but there was nothing wrong with the words themselves. They were the goal of cultivation. Refining the primordial spirit into the void was the first step to transcend and become independent. It was still very immature and was still a basic embryonic form, but it was a solid and crucial first step. When a primordial soul realm cultivator successfully advanced to the second-tier primordial soul realm, they would be able to refine a primordial spirit incarnation. A primordial spirit incarnation was a level higher than a primordial spirit incarnation. At the same time, it also transcended the will form of the cultivator's Dharma access and integrated with the cultivator's understanding of the Great Tao. Different people who reached the primordial soul realm using the same Dharma access would obtain the exact same primordial spirit incarnation. It was just that there might be differences in strength, but the existence of a primordial spirit incarnation was unique. However, second-tier primordial soul realm cultivators would usually not reveal their primordial spirit incarnation in battle. Although this mystical power was powerful, it was ultimately a Dharma access and not a Dharma access for actual combat. In a sense, it was somewhat similar to Yuanying. Although it was powerful, once it was damaged, it would cause severe damage to the cultivator. If the primordial spirit incarnation was shattered, the cultivator's realm would even fall back to the first-tier primordial soul realm. At this moment, the image of the red-robed giant that Shi Zhongyue manifested was the primordial spirit incarnation that he condensed based on the foundation of the Red Dragon Emperor's book and integrated with his own understanding of the Great Tao. Lin Feng silently watched Shi Zhongyue and Xing Do Dao master cultivate. After a long time, the two slowly stopped and dispersed their primordial spirit incarnation and primordial spirit incarnation. They stood up and solemnly bowed to Lin Feng at the same time. "Thank you, Master of Xian Men, for your help." Lin Feng said lightly, "You two don't have to be so polite. Since we entered the cloudy forest world together, we should help each other." He waved his hand and broke through the void. "West Hill City is below. I will send you two here. However, if you have the intention to stay on this mountain, I also welcome you." Chapter 470. After Shi Zhongyue and Dao Master Xing Do thanked Lin Feng, they chose to return to Xiling City. After they left the mountain, Lin Feng did not immediately leave on Jade Capital Mountain. Instead, he hovered tens of thousands of meters above the ground. A moment later, a mana fluctuation came from the direction of West Tomb City. There was no malice and it was very friendly. Lin Feng faintly smiled. He left the mountain and landed above West Tomb City. There, a crack opened in the void and a middle-aged man walked out with a majestic gait. The person who came was the current emperor of the Great Qin dynasty, Stonefeather. This time, he did not bring any attendants. He was alone, and he wore casual clothes. He did not wear a dragon robe or a crown. Stonefeather was dressed like an ordinary cultivator, but the emperor's aura did not diminish. Golden mist rose around him and filled the air. In the golden mist, one could vaguely see hundreds of colorful lines of light connected to his body and then extended into the surrounding void. Lin Feng looked closely and saw that the hundreds of rays of light were the auras of hundreds of ancient azure dragons glowing with colorful light. White, green, black, red, and yellow represented the 5 elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. There were dozens of light dragons of each color. In the golden mist, the light dragons were faintly discernible. Their heads and necks were wrapped around Stonefeather's body, while their tails extended into the surrounding void as if there was no end. Lin Feng could feel that these light dragons were condensed from the emperor's aura of the Great Qin dynasty. This was the first time Lin Feng had come to the capital of the Great Qin dynasty, Xiling City. Silently feeling the majestic city beneath his feet, Lin Feng could feel that there was endless spiritual energy gathering here. That was the gathering of the destiny of the entire Great Qin dynasty. And this endless destiny was now added to Qin Emperor Stonefeather's body, turning into an almost tangible emperor's aura. He looked down and his might shook the world. The Qin Emperor Stonefeather here was much stronger than when he showed his brilliance in the cloudy forest world. A centipede dies but does not fall down. The Great Qin dynasty is the longest existing dynasty. Even if its overall strength has declined, its foundation is still strong. Lin Feng thought to himself, when I approached the great Zhou country's Tianjing city, I didn't feel the aura of the country's luck gathering in one city. After all, the great Zhou Empire has only risen in the recent few thousand years. It can't compare to the Great Qin Empire, which has been established for more than 10,000 years. However, the Emperor of Zhou, Liang Pan, controls the Grand Imperial Palace. If he really wants to fight with the Great Qin, apart from West Hill City, no other place can stop him. Qin Emperor Stonefeather saw Lin Feng. Slowly, he said, the master of the Celestial Sect of Wonders has lent a helping hand. We express our deep gratitude. In the Cloud Forest realm, he fought with the Nine Glory Heaven Collapsing Formation, which was slightly further away from the battlefield of Yude Minghua. When the disc containing everyone shattered, he was prepared to save Shi Zong Yue and Dao Venerable Star Dipper. In the end, Lin Feng beat him to it. Not only did Lin Feng save them, he even used the essence of the Cloud Forest tree to heal the primordial spirits of Shi Zong Yue and the rest. To the Great Qin Empire, he definitely had to remember this favor. The Great Qin Empire was huge, but primordial spirit realm cultivators were also an important power that was hard to come by. Losing one was an unacceptable loss, not to mention that there was still King Anliang, Shi Zong Yue, a great cultivator at the second level of primordial spirit realm who had cultivated the Dharma body of void return. King Anliang, Shi Zong Yue, and Dao Venerable Star Dipper were also loyal followers of Qin Emperor Stonefeather. Lin Feng smiled faintly. You're too polite, fellow Daoist. I've met Prince Anliang and Daoist Star Dipper once in the past. Since I've seen them suffering this time, I'll naturally take care of them. Stonefeather was calm about how Lin Feng addressed him. Today, he didn't bring his guard of honor and wore ordinary clothes. He was talking to Lin Feng as a cultivator. Lin Feng looked down at West Tomb City and said with a smile, I believe that in the near future, I will bring my disciples to disturb you. I hope you won't blame me then. Stonefeather's entire body was shrouded in a golden mist, making it impossible to see his expression. His voice was graceful and calm. The Great Qin Empire welcomes Sect Master Lin and Xianmen Tianzong to visit at any time. Lin Feng smiled. In that case, I'll bid you farewell. Dao friend, please wait. He retreated and escaped into the void. Slowly, Stonefeather nodded. The golden mist around him became increasingly dazzling. Finally, he turned into a ball of golden light and descended into West Tomb City. In the center of West Tomb City, in the main hall of the Great Qin Empire's Imperial Palace, a middle-aged man wearing a crown and a dragon robe sat on the dragon throne, overflowing with the aura of an emperor. After the golden light entered the main hall, it retracted into the middle-aged man's glabella. In the main hall stood a man who looked like a scholar. He was no longer dressed in plain clothes, but had changed into court attire. However, he still looked simple and elegant. This person had a scholarly appearance, and his eyes were deep like the ocean, encompassing everything, but also bottomless and unfathomable. This was the Great Qin Empire's current Minister of Power, Wu Qingru. Even standing in front of Qin Emperor Stonefeather, Wu Qingru still had a calm appearance. Slowly, Stonefeather said, Qingru, the situation has changed. Wu Qingru nodded. The original plan was to guide the Shushan Sword Sect and the Great Zhou Empire to restrain each other, to prevent them from taking advantage of the chaos while the Great Qin is cleaning up internal threats. But now, it seems that the conflict between Xianmen Tianzong and the Shushan Sword Sect is showing signs of intensifying ahead of time. Xianmen Tianzong's strength is also higher than expected. Stonefeather did not speak and looked calmly at Wu Qingru. Wu Qingru also had a calm appearance. After a moment of silence, he said indifferently, since that's the case, then we might as well adjust the plan and drag the Shushan Sword Sect into it. With the combined strength of the Great Qin, the Great Zhou, and Xianmen Tianzong, we'll deal a heavy blow to Shushan together. Stonefeather looked up at him and said indifferently, Oh? Qingru's suggestion is different from before. Wu Qingru smiled slightly. Your Majesty is wise. I do indeed have a new idea. If it was in the past, I would completely terminate the original plan and not let conflict erupt between Shushan and the Great Zhou Empire. Shushan has Xianmen Tianzong to restrain them. As for the Great Zhou Empire, we can use the Reincarnation Sect's hidden pawns to draw the Great Zhou Empire into a fight with the Reincarnation Sect. This will also make it impossible for the Great Zhou Empire to be distracted and interfere with the internal cleanup process of the Great Qin Empire. Wu Qingrou's tone was calm and indifferent. In reality, he had never mentioned the reincarnation sect to Stonefeather before. They were not hidden pawns planted by the Great Qin Empire, but pawns planted by Wu Qingrou himself. After hearing this, the Great Qin Emperor Stonefeather similarly did not blink. He did not express the slightest bit of surprise. He only looked at Wu Qingrou silently, waiting for him to finish. Wu Qingrou continued, "The reason why I changed my original plan is because I know that Shi Tianhao, the disciple of the Master of the Mysterious Gate, will definitely fight with the dual-pupiled person of the Shi clan in the future. The original plan was to use this opportunity to use the power of Xianmen Tianzong to help the Great Qin attack the power of the aristocratic families. But now it seems that the pressure on Xianmen Tianzong is a little too great." Stonefeather's expression did not change. He said indifferently, "Qingrou's words have a hidden meaning. It seems that the dual-pupiled person has found a new backer. You changed your mind and attacked Shushan just to reduce the variables in the plan?" Wu Qingrou smiled. "Your Majesty is wise. In the battle between the two stones, the Great Qin can either be impartial or help Xianmen Tianzong and support that little stone. Since your Majesty has the intention not to participate in this battle, and Big Stone has found a new backer, if Shushan also joins in and becomes enemies with Xianmen Tianzong, the pressure on Little Stone and Xianmen Tianzong will be too great. If one side completely suppresses the other, it will only increase the power of the victor. Both sides will suffer. This is the most beneficial choice for the Great Qin dynasty." Silently, Stonefeather glanced at Wu Qingrou. "It is not only beneficial for the Great Qin, right?" Wu Qingrou smiled calmly. "Your Majesty's eyes are like a torch. Naturally, you can see through it." Stonefeather nodded. "Since that is the case, I will leave it to you, Qingrou." Wu Qingrou bowed. "Your subject obeys." There was silence between the ruler and subject. Their gazes looked towards the western sky, where the Kunlun Mountains were. At this time, Lin Feng had already urged Mount Yujing to return to the Kunlun Mountains. He sat at the peak of the mountain, smiling as he watched Xiao Yan, Shi Tianhao, and the others study the cloud forest trees that they had obtained. Other than Zhu Yi, who was still a little calm, the others were all beaming with joy. The four of them had each been given an entire cloud forest tree. They could freely use it. From now on, it was completely their private property. Kang Nanhua, Miao Shihao, Jiayu, Kuei Niu King, and the others did not come empty-handed. Lin Feng still had an entire cloud forest tree, which he had prepared for the protectors, elders, and demon kings. Although it was not like Xiao Yan and the others who could enjoy a cloud forest tree alone, it was definitely generous. With their current yuanying cultivation, it would take a long time for them to completely digest it. The cloud forest tree obtained this time was definitely a windfall for Xianmen Tianzong. It would greatly enhance the overall strength of the sect. Although Jun Zining was born in the ancient Yuan-Tian world, she was well educated and naturally understood the value of the cloud forest tree. She could understand that everyone was sharing a tree, but when she saw Xiao Yan and the others, including Yu Hongyan who was still in the foundation establishment stage, each get a tree, she immediately felt dizzy. The value of a cloud forest tree, especially one that was tens of thousands of years old, was already immeasurable. If the 7 great clans of the ancient Yuan-Tian world obtained it, without exception, they would definitely treat it like a treasure and carefully cultivate it. They would mark out the most fertile land with the most spiritual energy as a forbidden area for planting. Not to mention outsiders, even their own family members were not allowed to easily approach it. If a junior dared to sneak in, both of their legs would be broken and they would be thrown into confinement. If a branch was damaged, it would not be surprising if their cultivation was destroyed and they were imprisoned until death. If anyone dared to have any ideas about this cloud forest tree, they would definitely have a grudge that would not end until one of them died. This was because this cloud forest tree could allow the strength of a powerful cultivator clan to skyrocket, allowing the entire clan to reach a higher level and produce a qualitative leap. And surrounding this cloud forest tree, other clans would definitely be envious. They would send spies to lurk, or even directly attack and seize it. Clans that owned the spirit tree would definitely not yield and would definitely protect it to the end. But such a precious thing, each of Shi Tianhao and the others had one. Moreover, they were not planting it, but directly extracting its spiritual energy for cultivation. Such extravagance made Jun Zining feel that her previous worldview had completely collapsed. Even Taishu Temple, Mount Shu Sword Sect, the Great Zhou Dynasty, and the Great Qin Dynasty would not dare to play like this. Lin Feng smiled at the scene in front of him and thought to himself, I admit that doing this is a bit like a nouveau riche, but money can't buy my willingness. As long as I think it's worth it, it's fine. I have the capital to be a tycoon, what can you do to me? Even Yan Nanlai, Liang Pan, and the others were shocked to see such extravagance. They felt that it was not worth it, a waste, a nouveau riche, and a petty person. But Lin Feng felt that it was worth it. Again, what Xiao Yan and the others lacked the least was potential and talent. What they lacked the most was time. If they could use resources to speed up their growth, they would soon tell everyone that Lin Feng's investment was definitely worth it. Smiling and shaking his head, Lin Feng was about to enter the lottery system. Suddenly, his heart trembled slightly. He felt that someone in the outside world was trying to use the sound transmission crystal to contact the people on the mountain. Chapter 471. Yujing Mountain was managed by Lin Feng like an iron bucket. No water could get in. Any magical power that came in contact with the cyclic purple qi around the mountain would alarm Lin Feng. After Lin Feng carefully sensed it, he found that someone from the outside world was trying to contact Jun Zining with the voice transmission crystal. As far as Lin Feng knew, the voice transmission crystal in the little girl's hand could only be used to contact one person. It was neither her family nor the people from Zixiao Path, but her close friend, Luo Qingguo. This made Lin Feng a little curious. He didn't expect that Luo Qingguo, who had lost contact with him for half a year, would actually contact Jun Zining at this time. Lin Feng left a trace of magical power in Luo Qingguo's heavenly spirit pearl, which allowed him to roughly grasp Luo Qingguo's physical condition. The feedback was not very optimistic. The little girl's heavenly spirit pearl did not improve and was still on the verge of shattering. Lin Feng could feel that there was an external force intervening, hoping to repair the heavenly spirit pearl, but in the end, it was to no avail. Luo Qingguo had completely stopped her cultivation during this period of time. She did not breathe in and out the spiritual energy of heaven and earth into her body. Relying on the power of Lin Feng's bipolar divine flower petals, she barely ensured that the heavenly spirit pearl would not shatter. However, if the problem could not be solved, Luo Qingguo could not continue to cultivate. The situation was in a stalemate. Otherwise, she could allow the heavenly accumulating dark spirit pearl to be completely shattered. In that case, she could continue to cultivate, but Luo Qingguo's outstanding innate talent would be ruined. Her 9 points of bone potential fell to only 5 points. It was not that bad. After all, her other points were very good. Even if the heavenly spirit pearl was shattered, the total value of her 4 potential talents was still 26 points. However, others did not have a talent detector like Lin Feng, so they could not judge a person's potential so directly. In their eyes, Luo Qingguo, who had lost the heaven-accumulating dark soul pearl, was undoubtedly ordinary. Her future achievements would be limited, and she would no longer be the favored one. Therefore, whether it was Lin Feng, Luo Qi, or Jun Zining, none of them were optimistic that Luo Qingguo would still be treated as well as before when she returned to the Luo family. As long as Luo Qingguo was willing, she would be able to contact Lin Feng through the magic power that Lin Feng had left behind. This was also the foreshadowing that Lin Feng had deliberately left behind. But who knew that the little guy had gone back for half a year, and there was no news of him at all? No one obstructed her, and no one tampered with the mana left by Lin Feng. Not contacting Lin Feng was entirely the little loli's own intention. This made Lin Feng feel strange, but he was just curious. If the little loli continued to live a carefree life, it would not be a bad thing. After all, she was just a little girl who was less than 10 years old. Being doted on by her family, it would be warmer and happier. As Lin Feng thought about it, he allowed the voice transmission to connect. Sister Zining. Hearing Luo Qingwu's voice, he confirmed that it was the little loli who transmitted her voice and not someone else. After receiving the voice transmission crystal, Lin Feng cut off his own mana. He did not intend to listen to the private conversation between the little girls. But even though he did not intend to listen, someone took the initiative to tell him. Looking at Jun Zining's confused face in front of him, Lin Feng had an ominous intuition. What is it? Jun Zining's pair of delicate willow leaf-arched eyebrows were completely wrinkled and twisted into a knot. Facing Lin Feng, she said hesitantly, Senior, Junior has something to tell you, but I don't know how to say it. Thinking of Luo Qingwu's Dharma power voice transmission just now, Lin Feng looked at Jun Zining, who was so confused that she wanted to die, and felt slightly frightened. He said as if nothing had happened, What's the matter? Just say it. Jun Zining said hesitantly, that Qingwu contacted me. She carefully raised her head and glanced at Lin Feng, asking probingly, Senior, Qingwu, do you still remember? She was with me in Kunlun Mountain, wearing red clothes. Nonsense, how can I not remember? Lin Feng curled his lips in his heart, but on the surface, he looked calm. Her name is Luo Qingwu, right? I have an impression of her. Jun Zining nodded repeatedly. Yes, that's right. It's her. Well, she just contacted me. Lin Feng looked at her silently, waiting for her to continue. Since she had already started, Jun Zining simply let go of all her scruples and asked boldly, Senior, I remember I once asked you if Xiao Wu's Heaven-Ean Spirit Pearl had a chance to recover. At that time, you said it would depend on her luck. At that time, it was still too early to say. I don't know now. Lin Feng understood in his heart. As expected, my feeling was not wrong, her Heaven-Ean Spirit Pearl has indeed not recovered. He nodded slightly. Yes, I did say that. Now, I have a certain degree of confidence in repairing her Heaven-Ean Spirit Pearl. Jun Zining's face suddenly showed surprise, but after the surprise, her expression became even more confused. The ups and downs in her expression made Lin Feng feel a little puzzled. What happened? Speak clearly. Although Lin Feng's tone was calm, his temperament was now more and more profound. To the people around him, he was more and more dignified. Jun Zining swallowed her saliva as if her tongue was half short. She hesitantly explained the contact between Luo Qingwu and herself. As Lin Feng listened, his eyes gradually began to stare blankly, and he felt more and more dumbfounded. If one word must be used to highly condense Lin Feng's mood at the moment, then two words were the most suitable. Pain in the ass. It was so painful that it was about to break. Lin Feng now finally understood why Jun Zining was so confused. He was even more confused than Jun Zining at the moment. His, Luo Qi's, and Jun Zining's premonition was not bad. After Luo Qingwu, whose heavenly accumulating dark spirit pearl was on the verge of shattering, returned to the Luo clan in the ancient Yuan-Tian world, she did not even have the time to enjoy the love and warmth of her family when she was quickly doused with a basin of cold water. After using all kinds of methods to repair the damage of the Heaven-Ean Spirit Pearl, Luo Qingwu's status in the Luo clan plummeted. Except for a few close relatives who loved and pitied her even more, in other aspects, she had completely fallen from the clouds to the bottom of the valley. What was especially hard for Luo Qingwu to accept was that the few treasures that she had cherished the most since she was young were also going to be taken back. Those were originally the protective treasures and treasures that were given to her by her clan to aid in cultivation. Now that Luo Qingwu's talent was wasted, the Luo clan decided to take them back. But for Luo Qingwu, those were treasures that had accompanied her since she could remember. In her heart, the significance of those treasures was not as simple as a few cultivation treasures. This made the little lowly quite sad and bitterly disappointed. At this time, the foreshadowing that Lin Feng had planted should have come into effect, but something unexpected happened. Looking at the deeply hurt Luo Qinggu, Luo Qi could not bear to see her like this, so he mentioned Lin Feng to the other masters of the clan, saying that Lin Feng cared for Luo Qinggu very much and that the little lowly was very congenial with him. Luo Qi was actually a little guilty when he said this. He did not know that Lin Feng had planted magical power in Luo Qinggu's body, and it was even more impossible for him to guess Lin Feng's thoughts. He only said this to prevent Luo Qinggu's status in the clan from falling too badly. But as a result, the other Yuanying patriarchs of the Luo clan began to have other thoughts. After losing the Heaven Yin Soul Pearl, Luo Qinggu's genius halo was gradually disappearing. In the future, she was very likely to be used as a bargaining chip for the clan's marriage alliance. If what Luo Qi said was true, that Luo Qinggu and Lin Feng were congenial, then why not just send Luo Qinggu to Lin Feng and see if she could become his disciple? Lin Feng knew that Luo Qinggu's Heaven Yin Soul Pearl was broken. Under such circumstances, Luo Qinggu was still congenial to him. Perhaps the Luo clan could use this to turn a waste into a treasure, and use a female junior with a limited future to establish a relationship with the rising son of Xianmen Tianzong. After the Battle of Mount Kunlun, the news of the destruction of the Wind God sect and the suppression of the Golden Crow Sage by Lin Feng spread throughout the world. Xianmen Tianzong had officially stepped onto the broad stage of the Divine Land. He had become a new generation of powerhouses that many factions looked up to. Even the primordial soul realm patriarchs of the Luo clan had tacitly agreed to the suggestion of the other clan members after receiving the news. If Luo Qinggu's heaven-accumulating dark spirit pearl was not broken and she had a bright future, then the Luo family might have to think about it. But now that Luo Qinggu, who had faded into the crowd, could establish a relationship with the celestial sect of the Xianmen sect, which was in the limelight in the vast land of the Divine Land, if this investment was successful, it would be totally worth it. Luo Qi also remained silent on this matter. He only hoped that Lin Feng did not do it on a whim, but that he really loved and valued Luo Qinggu and was willing to accept her as a disciple. This might be a blessing in disguise for Luo Qinggu. In particular, Luo Qi also vaguely felt that Lin Feng might have a way to repair Luo Qinggu's Heaven Yin Soul Pearl. If this matter ended here, then everything would still be quite good, and Lin Feng could still get what he wanted. However, the Luo clan ignored the opinion of one person. The little lowly herself. Originally, the foreshadowing that Lin Feng had laid down was about to take effect. The depressed Luo Qinggu already had the idea of contacting Lin Feng. It was not that she wanted to leave her clan, but she just wanted to temporarily leave this suddenly unfamiliar and cold environment. She wanted to find someone to pour out her troubles to. However, at this time, she found out that the elders of her clan wanted to gift her to Lin Feng as a gift to form a good relationship with Xianmen Tianzong. Although everyone put on a look of good for her, saying that it was a blessing in disguise, Luo Qinggu only felt cold all over. Even the last trace of warmth in her heart was about to disappear. Incidentally, even the impression of Lin Feng and Xianmen Tianzong in her heart took a turn for the worse. The little lowly immediately threw a tantrum. She didn't say a word all day long, and she didn't even want to eat. She was unwilling to go to Xianmen Tianzong no matter what. The Luo clan was very troubled by this. After all, they sent Luo Qinggu to Xianmen Tianzong to be apprenticed to a master and to interact with people on a daily basis. They did not really want to send a mindless, lifeless commodity. The little lowly could not do her job well. If she was sent to Yujing Mountain, she would only be rude and offend people. The Luo clan wanted to establish a good relationship with Xianmen Tianzong, not to cause trouble between the two parties. Therefore, things came to a deadlock. As time dragged on, many of the Luo clan lost their patience. The elders were still fine, but there were more and more rumors among the younger generation. The words became more and more unpleasant, and Luo Qinggu's situation became worse and worse. The little loli became more and more bitter, so she threw a tantrum. As for the contact information that Lin Feng left for her, it was completely useless. After understanding the whole story, Lin Feng didn't know whether to cry or laugh. Damn, she looks so obedient, but she's actually a naughty child. As for the people of the Luo clan, Lin Feng wanted to kill them at this moment. As the old saying goes, don't be afraid of a godlike opponent, but be afraid of a pig-like teammate. Forcefully suppressing his pounding and aching temples, Lin Feng's mouth twitched slightly as he looked at Jun Zining. What's the situation now? Chapter 472. For Lin Feng, he had never been afraid of a godlike opponent. It was not a big deal to lose if he was not as strong. What he was most afraid of was a pig-like teammate. It was definitely a pain in the ass to lose because of a pig-like teammate when he was clearly better than the opponent. Lin Feng was having a headache about Luo Qingwu's situation at this time. However, on the surface, he still maintained his calm and looked at Jun Zining indifferently. What is the specific situation now? Jun Zining lowered her head and replied softly. Xiaowu was placed in a courtyard of the Luo family, accompanied by her mother. A while ago, the Luo family and the Yang family clashed again. This time, the battle was very fierce and there were casualties on both sides. During the conflict, the courtyard where Qinggu lived was broken into. Lin Feng's expression did not change. She fell into the hands of the Yang family? Not really. Jun Zining shook her head and said with some difficulty, but taking advantage of the chaos, she ran out of the courtyard by herself. At that time, there were people from the great Zhou dynasty coming to the ancient Yuan-Tian world. Xiaowu sneaked into their carriage and came to the divine land. For a moment, Lin Feng felt his temples throbbing with pain. The 7 major families of the ancient Yuan-Tian world represented the interests of several major forces in the Divine Land, and the Luo family was backed by the great Zhou dynasty. Lin Feng knew about this a long time ago, but he did not expect that Luo Qinggu would sneak into the Divine Land. The people sent by the great Zhou dynasty to the ancient Yuan-Tian world, regardless of the cultivation of the person in charge, must be smart and capable. It was impossible for him not to notice that a little girl had sneaked into the team. However, he still allowed Luo Qinggu to follow him back to the Divine Land. It was really hard to predict what he was planning. Perhaps he had already found out about the little girl's identity, but did not know that her Heaven-Een spirit pearl was on the verge of breaking, so he thought she was a rare commodity. This added some trouble to Lin Feng. Unfortunately, because the Luo clan's help was counterproductive, it was not convenient for Lin Feng to look for the little loli. At least, he could not go before the little loli's mind came around. Otherwise, even if he brought her back to the mountain, it would only be counterproductive. He wanted to accept a disciple, not kidnap her. That's why I said that naughty kids are really a headache. Lin Feng smiled bitterly in his heart. At this time, I need someone to enlighten her and stop her from being stubborn. It's a pity that I can't do it. No one in Xianmen Tianzong can, except. Lin Feng's gaze fell on Jun Zining in front of him. Jun Zining was looking at him uneasily. In the end, she was just a 12-year-old girl. Lin Feng said calmly, I have some confidence in repairing her divine dark bead. If she is willing, she can come to Yujing Mountain. A happy smile appeared on Jun Zining's face and she nodded repeatedly. Thank you, senior. Thank you, senior. She felt a faint sense of uneasiness in her heart just now. She felt that she was too rash and told Lin Feng about Luo Qinggu throwing a tantrum. She was afraid that Lin Feng would be unhappy because of it, but now it seemed that Lin Feng did not mind. This made Jun Zining let out a long sigh of relief. Fortunately, Senior Lin is a magnanimous person. Otherwise, I would have harmed Xiao Wu instead. But then, Jun Zining began to worry again. Lin Feng would not lower himself to a child's level, but if Luo Qinggu wanted to repair her Heaven-Een spirit pearl, she would definitely have to go up the mountain to seek medical help. It was impossible for Lin Feng to go up the mountain to look for her. Jun Xining's little face became tangled again. She could tell from the magical power transmission with Luo Qingwu that Luo Qingwu was still confused. How could she take the initiative to go up the mountain to seek medical help in such a situation? Thinking that her little sister was injured and had the Heaven Een spirit pearl broken because she accompanied her out to relax, Jun Xining felt quite uncomfortable. After thinking about it, she said to Lin Feng, "Senior, I want to find Xiao Wu and bring her up the mountain. Please allow me." She made up her mind to find Luo Qingwu and enlighten her first. She would say more good things about Lin Feng so that she would at least be willing to go up the mountain to seek medical help. Jun Xining felt that she had to be fast. If it dragged on for too long, Lin Feng would change his mind, and it would be too late to cry. Lin Feng said in his heart, "It's naturally for the best that you are willing to take the initiative to bring it up." He nodded indifferently and said indifferently, "It's okay, you can go on your own." Looking at Jun Xining, Lin Feng calmly pointed to Burning Heaven Cliff where Xiao Yan lived in the distance. "Go there to find my eldest disciple Xiao Yan and borrow the Black Cloud flag from him. The Great Zhou dynasty is more than 10,000 miles away from Kunlun Mountain. The Black Cloud flag can help you travel. For such a long distance, only the power of the Yuanying stage could break through space and escape. If they walked slowly, who knew how long it would take? If it was Xianmen Tianzong's own disciple, Lin Feng would directly send Kuei Niu King or Jiayu to escort her. However, Jun Xining had not entered the sect at the moment and was only living as a guest. It would be a bit too much to ask a demon king like Jiayu to escort her. If it was a Yuanying stage magic weapon, Jun Xining had not built her foundation yet, so she really could not activate it. Only the golden elixir period Black Cloud flag that could move through the void was suitable for her. Jun Xining was overjoyed and bowed, "Thank you, senior." She immediately went to Burning Heaven Cliff to ask Lin Feng for the treasure. Lin Feng watched Jun Xining leave and said in his heart, "Don't rush, I hope you won't disappoint me." After sending the little girl away, Lin Feng pondered for a moment and called Dao Jiqiang. The middle-aged man came to Lin Feng and bowed respectfully, "Greetings, sect master." Lin Feng looked at Dao Jiqiang and could not help but smile. To be fair, Dao Jiqiang's cultivation talent was mediocre. Under normal circumstances, if he could advance to the golden elixir period and form a yellow core, that would be his limit. Even in a holy place for cultivation like Mount Yujing, and with Lin Feng's help, the hope of him forming a Yuanying stage in this lifetime was infinitely close to zero. However, his ability to handle daily affairs was absolutely worthy of recognition. He was careful, smart, and capable. As an outer sect steward, he was definitely making the best use of his abilities. Before Dao Jiqiang came up the mountain, Xianmen Tianzong's daily chores were basically shared by Kang Nanhua and Zhu Yi. With Dao Jiqiang, the two of them were liberated, and Dao Jiqiang did a very good job. All kinds of trivial matters were handled in an orderly manner, and he was conscientious. This person was also very perceptive. He tried his best to carry out the tasks that were given to him perfectly. He did not say or ask too many questions about other things, and he kept his ears and mouth shut. Lin Feng looked at Dao Jiqiang and slowly said, "Today, I will let Tianqi Sect's Song Qingyuan go down the mountain." Dao Jiqiang did not say anything. He stood respectfully in front of Lin Feng, silently listening to Lin Feng. Lin Feng said lightly, "You don't have to worry about your daughter. When Song Qingyuan returns this time, he will not make things difficult for your daughter without confidence. Instead, he will treat her well." Dao Jiqiang heaved a sigh of relief and bowed again. "Thank you, sect master. I am very grateful." Lin Feng nodded and released his mana, sending Dao Jiqiang away. Purple chi surged and brought Song Qingyuan before him. For the past few days, Song Qingyuan had been under house arrest on Yujing Mountain. His movements were restricted to a stone chamber. However, he was also very perceptive and did not dare to act rashly. He patiently waited for Lin Feng's punishment. Although there were times when he was anxious and uneasy, he was generally calm. Usually, he cultivated alone in the stone chamber on Yujing Mountain and tried to figure out Taoist techniques. The disciples of Xianmen Tianzong are really lucky. The spirit qi on Yujing Mountain is so abundant. Not to mention my Tianqi sect's mountain gate, even the sacred ground deep in the mountain gate's cave abode might not be comparable. If it was not for the fact that he was almost a prisoner, Song Qingyuan would have stayed on the mountain and not left. Now that he saw Lin Feng again, even with Song Qingyuan's state of mind, he could not help but feel a little uneasy. He bowed and said, "Junior Song Qingyuan greets the master of Xianmen Gate." "Senior, may you be safe." Lin Feng asked lightly, "How have you been these days?" "It's my luck to be able to cultivate in seclusion in Senior's Mountain Gate." Song Qingyuan paused and still said frankly, "It's just that in order to avoid the worries of the elders in the sect, I still hope to return to the northern snow mountain and Tianqi Lake. I hope Senior can allow it." A faint smile appeared at the corner of Lin Feng's mouth. "That's naturally not a problem. Send my regards to your master." After saying that, he directly sent Song Qingyuan down the mountain with his supernatural power. Looking at the scene that suddenly changed in front of him, looking at the vast Kunlun mountain, Song Qingyuan was slightly stunned. Then, he took a deep breath and raised his head to look at the void. He remembered that he had accidentally seen Dao Jiqiang from afar. The other party seemed to be moving freely on the mountain. Maybe. Song Qingyuan slightly narrowed his eyes. "I should go back and report to Master as soon as possible." Lin Feng sat on the mountain, his gaze piercing through the void and looking at Song Qingyuan's back. He could not help but smile. Naturally, he could not let Dao Jiqiang specially run to Song Qingyuan to show his face. That would be too obvious. It was good as it was now. People always like to treat the scene that they accidentally encountered with their own eyes as reality. After dealing with Song Qingyuan and Dao Jiqiang, Jun Zining also asked for the black cloud flag from Xiao Yan and came to bid farewell to Lin Feng. She was also sent down the mountain by Lin Feng to the great Zhou dynasty to look for Luo Qingguo. Now, let's begin. Lin Feng's consciousness entered the lottery system. He did not even look at the dice lottery system and the roulette lottery system. He directly entered the lottery system. The items to be drawn in the dice lottery system and the roulette lottery system were specific and were selected by the system. However, the lottery system was different. Before drawing a lot, one could first choose an item they wanted in the exchange system, then choose an item from their current items and give it to the system as a chip. Finally, they would draw a lot. Drawing a red lot was a special prize. They could directly get the item they chose in the exchange system. It was equivalent to using a chip to exchange for the item, even if the original price of the item was tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of exchange points. From the Desolate Sea Assembly to the Battle of Kunlun Mountain destroying the Wind God sect, then to the Kuan Peng's treasury and the great harvest of the Cloud Forest world, Lin Feng had already accumulated enough chips just for this day. If he's going to play this time, then he's going to play big. Lin Feng opened the exchange system page. He did not look at the items in front and directly scrolled to the bottom of the menu. He stared at the last few items on the list and chuckled. What dice, what roulette, go to the side. This brother will use enough lottery chances and enough chips to forcefully smash a few good things. Chapter 473. The last few items in the exchange system could be exchanged for in the tens of thousands of points. These few items had never appeared randomly in the dice and roulette systems before, which made Lin Feng suspect that once they exceeded 10,000 points, they might not be able to be drawn through the dice and roulette lottery systems. In terms of points, the most expensive item that the two lottery systems had produced so far was the Heaven Spirit Replenishing Pill, which was worth 8,000 points. The exception was the sect construction token, which could not be found in the exchange system and could not be valued. So Lin Feng had been accumulating many lottery chances and enough chips. Using the lottery system, he used the method of a red lot special prize item to exchange for what he wanted. The first to bear the brunt was the 33 Days Fortune Immortal Pill. This was a system-specific item that did not exist in the Great Heaven primordial world. Its effect was to be consumed by cultivators below the primordial soul stage and could directly advance by a small realm. Even if one advanced from the middle stage of Yuanying to the late stage of Yuanying, it could be done in one go, and there were no side effects. Its effects were heaven-defying. If a late-stage Yuanying, golden elixir, or foundation establishment cultivator consumed it, it could increase the chances of breaking through a major realm. This pill could only be consumed once in a person's lifetime, and it would be ineffective the second time. From the first time this pill appeared in the exchange system, Lin Feng had his eyes on it. However, it was obvious that the best time to consume this pill was during the Yuanying period, which could maximize its value. Therefore, Lin Feng had been holding back. Of course, another reason why he didn't make a move is that the exchange price of this thing is just too high. The most expensive pill in the exchange system currently costs several tens of thousands of points. All of the points that Lin Feng has ever obtained in his life are not enough. However, it was different this time. Lin Feng directly used the lottery system's method of gambling for the red lot to get this thing. Lin Feng had obtained half of the ancient Kunpeng's body. Tens of thousands of years ago, countless cultivators and demons had died in the belly of the Kunpeng. Therefore, there were many good things left in the belly of the Kunpeng. The Virokana that Zhu Yi had found and the stone sword that Shi Tianhao had obtained were just two of them. This time, Lin Feng directly threw a fairly good Yuanying magic weapon. The lottery system appeared, and there were 30 sticks on top of it. 3 red sticks. Lin Feng frowned slightly. There were a maximum of 6 red sticks, which meant that there was a 20% chance of success. There were only 3 red sticks, which meant that the system had judged that Lin Feng had not put enough chips. In addition to the 3 red lots, there were 10 long white lots that randomly drew items. There were 12 long white lots that returned the mortgage chips and wasted a lucky draw chance. There were 5 short white lots that returned empty-handed. After the lottery began, 30 sticks fell into the lottery pot and spun rapidly in the pot. After a while, they stopped, and all the sticks were placed in the pot silently. The exposed parts of the sticks were exactly the same. There was no difference in appearance. Lin Feng did not waste any time. He directly used his luck and randomly picked one. After the stick floated out of the pot, a smile immediately appeared on Lin Feng's face. It was red. Ha, good luck. Lin Feng smiled. His luck today was really not bad. The first round and his wish came true. Moreover, it was a 10% chance that he got it. The 33 Days Fortune Immortal Pill that the system had paid for appeared in front of Lin Feng. Just as Lin Feng was about to grab the pill actually trembled slightly, as if it wanted to fly out. Lin Feng smiled and used his dermic powers to hold the pill. As expected, it is the same as the Heaven Spirit Replenishing Pill. High-grade pills can condense their own pill spirit. The 33 Days Fortune Immortal Pill's spirituality is also better than the Heaven Spirit Replenishing Pills. The 33 Days Fortune Immortal Pill was not big. It was only the size of a person's thumb. Its shape was not smooth and round, and it did not even look like a solid object. Instead, it was formed by the gathering of a constantly rolling cloud. But Lin Feng didn't even need to use his own divine sense and magic power to explore. He could feel that within that seemingly small cloud, there seemed to be an infinitely vast space condensed here, like an immortal palace in heaven, the 33 heavens. Lin Feng felt it and realized that the 33 Days Fortune Immortal Pill was a projection of the laws of many great Taoists of heaven and earth, forming the effect of multiple layers of space. If a cultivator consumed it, although they would not be able to directly comprehend the laws of the great Taoists, they would be able to get a glimpse of them. It would be very beneficial for their future cultivation. The 33 Days Fortune Immortal Pill could no longer be defined as a simple pill. To be precise, it was a condensed projection of the laws of heaven and earth, using the pill as a vessel. Consuming this pill would not only increase a cultivator's realm, but it would also be beneficial for their future cultivation. Consuming it once would benefit them for the rest of their lives. Lin Feng pinched the pill, pondering in his heart, a nascent soul stage magic item in exchange for such a good item, it's simply a huge profit. Just that I don't know if the Heavenly Gold Pavilion can derive the complete pill formula or not. The 33 Days Fortune Immortal Pill was so special. Even if the pill formula was derived, it would be quite difficult to refine it. Even so, Lin Feng was extremely happy. This pill could be said to be the sex cornerstone. If it could be mass-produced, it would definitely make Xianmen Tianzong's strength improve by leaps and bounds. Lin Feng put the pill away with a smile, then continued to draw the lottery. With the 33 Days Fortune Immortal Pill as a base, Lin Feng's mentality was much more relaxed. It was as if he was sweeping up the goods during a sale. He specifically stared at the last few items in the exchange system, the ones with the highest value and the most expensive exchange price. There were successes and failures in the lottery. Some were like the 33 Days Fortune Immortal Pill, which resulted in a red lot. There were also times when he drew a white lot and his chips were returned, wasting a lottery chance. There was even one time when he was unlucky and drew a short white lot. Not only did he not get what he wanted, he even lost the chips he had mortgaged. However, Lin Feng's wealth was too great this time. Even the system had to admit defeat. The Heavenly Soul Cloudy Stone was the fourth last item in the exchange system's list of items. It required 18,000 points to exchange. Its appearance was a pure white stone with elegant cloud patterns on its surface. It was overflowing with spiritual energy. It was the most famous top refining material in the entire Tianyuan world. Its value could not even be described as being worth a city. It was completely priceless. There were very few solid stones, but they were born in the clouds in the sky. Moreover, there was no pattern to its condensation. However, its effects were extremely heaven-defying. It naturally contained the secrets of space and had the effect of recovering one's vitality. As long as a little bit of it was added into the ritual implement would have the effect of traversing through space and traversing the void. Moreover, if the magic tool was damaged, it could absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth on its own to slowly repair the damage. For cultivators who had formed Yuanying stage or possessed Yuanying stage magic tools, it did not seem to have much effect. However, for cultivators with lower cultivation, it was definitely a rare treasure. For cultivators whose cultivation was below the Yuanying stage, adding a little Heavenly Soul Cloudy Stone when refining the magic tool could also allow them to understand the mystery of space in advance and increase their chances of forming a nascent soul. Unlike the teachings of a master, this was something that they could comprehend on their own and truly understand the true meaning. If this kind of spiritual stone appeared in the world, it would definitely cause all the major forces to fight for it. Just a little bit of Heavenly Soul Cloudy Stone could be used. The Heavenly Soul Cloudy Stone that Lin Feng had drawn from the lottery could be divided into thousands of pieces without a problem. Other than the Heavenly Soul Cloudy Stone, there was also the Tranquil Jade. This was the second last item on the list of items. Its price was much more expensive than the 33 Days Fortune Immortal Pill, which was the third last item. It cost a total of 50,000 exchange points. On the surface, the Tranquil Jade was inconspicuous. It was just a small emerald jade pendant. However, this precious jade could trigger a fragrance called the Tranquil Fragrance, which would allow cultivators to enter the mysterious state of thoughtless tranquil. The world had just begun, and chaos had just begun. A mother giving birth to a baby was most suitable for this state of chaos. When a person was still a baby, their mind would be empty, and they would be half awake. This was the cultivation state that every cultivator dreamed of. The mind would be in chaos, and it was most suitable for the primordial true meaning of the Great Tao. This state was known as thoughtless tranquil. When cultivating in this state, the effects would be countless times better than at any other time. Lin Feng himself had only had a few such cultivation experiences under extremely coincidental circumstances. His research into Dermic Tao had indeed improved by leaps and bounds. However, it was impossible for him to enter the state again after that. It was as if the sudden inspiration in his mind could only be obtained by chance and could not be forced. Most cultivators in this world would never enter the ultimate cultivation state of thoughtless tranquil their entire lives. Of course, once one entered the state, one had to be able to exit it at any time. Otherwise, remaining in a daze would be equivalent to death. The tranquil fragrance triggered by the tranquil jade could allow cultivators to enter this cultivation state at any time. Although there were restrictions on the duration of its activation and the area that the fragrance could cover, it was still extremely valuable. After all, the thoughtless tranquil realm was something that even first-tier primordial soul realm cultivators could only come across by chance. Second-tier primordial soul realm cultivators could enter the state at will, but they could not succeed every time. Only third-tier primordial soul realm cultivators or Tao integration mighty figures could enter the state at any time. The tranquil jade was a treasure that was even better than the 33 Heavens Fortune Immortal Pill. It was a foundational treasure of the sect, and it could allow Lin Feng and his disciples to experience a qualitative leap in strength. The tranquil jade, the 33 Heavens Fortune Immortal Pill, and the Heavenly Soul Cloudy Stone. Other than these three designated treasures that had been obtained with red lots, Lin Feng had also drawn a long white lot that gave him random items. Within the random items, there are trash items that are not of high value, but there are also treasures that Lin Feng is satisfied with. For example, there is a sect construction token. For example, there is a spirit grass called the Spirit Spring Marrow Cleansing Grass. It is the main raw material of the precious marrow cleansing pill. However, at this moment, Lin Feng's full attention was placed on the last item on the exchange system's list of items. He still had 2 lucky draw chances left. He had already used 2 lucky draw chances previously, with the goal of obtaining this final treasure. However, he had failed both times. However, Lin Feng did not plan on giving up. He was determined to obtain this item. Not for anything else, but just for the price of this item, he had to fight for it. The system had fully proven that you get what you pay for, and it was worth every penny. And the exchange price of this final treasure was 300,000 points. Chapter 474. Including the Tranquil Jade, the 33 Days Fortune Immortal Pill, and the Heavenly Soul Cloudy Stone, the exchange price of 300,000 points was almost equal to the total price of all the items in the exchange system. However, what made people speechless was that the item's name was a string of question marks, and the item description was blank. Apart from the price, Lin Feng could only see an image. The image was gray and blurry, and nothing could be seen clearly. However, there was a voice in Lin Feng's heart that told him that it was a huge bell. It was a huge bell. There was no reason and no basis, but when Lin Feng looked at the image, his intuition told him that the thing hidden behind the chaos was a huge bell. The value of this item was not only reflected in its high exchange price of 300,000 points, but also reflected in the fact that after Lin Feng had designated this item as his target through the lottery system, he had provided chips, and the lots were formed. However, there was only one red lot. The lowest probability of getting a red lot was only 1. In other words, the success rate was less than 4%. In the previous 2 draws, Lin Feng had used a very high-quality yuanying magic item for the first time. As a result, there was 1 red lot, 6 long white lots, 9 white lots, and 14 short white lots, which meant that he had lost everything. This kind of situation means that the system has judged that the nascent soul stage magic item that Lin Feng put up is clearly on the low side compared to that big bell. Therefore, in the second draw, Lin Feng bet on a damaged magic item that he had obtained from the Kuan Peng's treasure. This magic item was the same as Shi Tianhao's stone sword. It was undamaged, but the magic item's primordial spirit had been destroyed. Its foundation was still very good, and if a primordial spirit cultivator spent some effort to refine it again, there was a chance that it could return to its peak. This time, there were a few more red lots. 2. There were 2 red lots, 9 long white lots, 12 long white lots, and 7 short white lots floating above the lot pot. After failing twice in a row, Lin Feng's interest was piqued. After pondering for a moment, he took out the water spirit heaven pearl. Among the treasures that Golden Rock Great Sage and Cheongchi Great Sage used to set up the 9 luminary sky crumbling formation, the water spirit pearl was used as the carrier of the water celestial star power. It was rich in water spiritual energy. Although it was not a magical treasure, nor was it a magical treasure embryo, it was still an extremely precious water treasure. If it fell into the hands of a mighty cultivator who achieved nascent divinity through water element magic, it would also be an excellent material for refining magic treasures. Lin Feng submitted the water spirit pearl to the system, and another 30 sticks appeared on top of the lottery system's pot. 3 red lots, 10 long white lots, 12 white lots, and 5 short white lots. The lottery began, and all of them fell into the bucket. After spinning at high speed, they stopped. Lin Feng randomly picked one. A white lot meant that he did not get the bell he wanted, nor did he get a random item. The water spirit pearl would not be swallowed and returned as it was, which was equivalent to wasting one lottery chance. Lin Feng was not discouraged. Although he only had one lottery chance left, Lin Feng was not arrogant or rash. He looked at the water spirit pearl and fell into deep thought. The magical treasure embryo level is far from it. Only a nascent divinity magical treasure will do. After Lin Feng muttered to himself for a while, he handed over the Kasaya with the Mahavarokana scripture recorded on it to the system. The scripture is already recorded anyways, for Lin Feng the Kasaya is no longer of much value. But a Kasaya with the Vairocana scriptures recorded on it was priceless, even without the general principles and the Vairocana palm dermic seal. As expected, this was even better than the water spirit pearl. The system gave him 5 red lots. The lottery system's highest probability was 6 red lots. 5 red lots was already very impressive. Lin Feng was not depressed. Instead, he became even more interested. Not giving me 6, does it mean that the bell is worth more than ordinary magical treasures? The lottery started, and the sticks spun rapidly in the pot. Soon, they landed. This time, Lin Feng was not in a hurry. Instead, he paused for a moment before choosing one. When all the sticks floated out of the pot, Lin Feng let out a long sigh. Red. A 1 in 6 chance. He had made the right bet. Ha, 300,000, 300,000. I got the item worth 300,000 points just like that. If I were to exchange it, I wouldn't be able to get 300,000 even if I squeezed all the oil out of my bones, much less sell me. The Kasaya disappeared. Lin Feng waited excitedly for the system to hand over the bell. But after a long time, there was no reaction. Oh. A system malfunction. Lin Feng furrowed his brows. Even though he already knew that the system had no moral integrity and no morals to speak of, always tricking him to no end, but if it tricked him at this critical moment then Lin Feng would really curse. At that moment, Lin Feng suddenly heard a strange sound. It came from the depths of his soul, but it seemed to pass through endless space. This is, the bell? Lin Feng blurted out. The ringing of the bell seemed to have pierced through the final membrane. Within Lin Feng's sea of consciousness, a gray shadow suddenly appeared. As the ringing of the bell reverberated, it gradually became clearer. It was indeed a strange bell. It was full of contradictions. At first glance, it seemed extremely small as a speck of dust. But at the next glance, it seemed extremely large, so large that it covered the sky. A strange feeling of collecting a mustard seed and releasing a mountain peak filled Lin Feng's mind. When he stared at this large bell, it was as if he saw the most primordial chaos, and then following the ringing of the bell, the primordial chaos transformed into the primordial universe, followed by the birth and destruction of billions of stars, all phenomena of the universe, countless lives were born, and then disappeared. Lin Feng silently watched as one creation after another was born from the primordial chaos. They were divided into two poles. Earth, water, fire, and wind were created. They transformed into all things, constantly developing and evolving. Finally, they decayed and perished, reaching their end. Heaven and earth were destroyed and returned to primordial chaos. Seeing this, Lin Feng already understood the meaning of the bell. This bell was derived from Lin Feng's own Tao. It was derived from the profound true meaning of the heavenly virtue scripture. The heavenly virtue scripture was created by Lin Feng with the help of the system. It was created by fusing various Tao techniques and the laws of the great Tao with the will of heaven and earth. It elaborated on the true meaning of creation. It represented the birth, aging, sickness, and death of life, and the power of the world becoming void. While the system was helping Lin Feng create his own Tao technique, it also automatically created this bell. The bell of creation. This bell was still in its embryonic form. It was a will that only existed in Lin Feng's consciousness. It couldn't even be considered an immortal treasure. However, it was a treasure that completely matched Lin Feng's own Tao technique. It was the most suitable treasure for Lin Feng. When Lin Feng formed his primordial soul and improved his cultivation, it could be used as his Dharma treasure, his natal Dharma treasure. Lin Feng silently stared at the bell of creation in his sea of consciousness. The bell in the void rang with a distant sound. It seemed to have crossed thousands of years and endless space. In the sound of the bell, the huge bell of creation slowly changed. Finally, it turned into a huge stone door. The stone door was pitch black in color. Its surface was covered with thousands of scenes. In the ancient desolation, it exuded a strong aura of life. The first manifestation of the bell of creation, the gate of creation. It represented the birth of infinite life and the creation of infinite things. It contained the primordial chaos to open up one side of creation and the supreme power to create a side of heaven and earth. Open. In the void of consciousness, Lin Feng shouted at the gate of creation. With a boom, the gate of creation made a muffled sound and slowly opened to both sides. An invisible long river flowed out of the door that opened to both sides. The river flowed ceaselessly. It was neither fast nor slow. However, it had a power that would never stop. The second manifestation of the bell of creation, the river of time. It represented all things and all life. Time passed without return. Everything grew and aged in the long river of time. It contained the power to control the passage of time. As the river of time flowed, Lin Feng's mind also seemed to experience the endless river of history. It flowed straight down, passing through the vicissitudes of all things and experiencing the growth of every life. When the river of time came to an end, an image of a book appeared in front of Lin Feng. The book itself looked ordinary. There was no aura coming out of it. It just looked very simple and desolate. However, a smile appeared on Lin Feng's face. This was the third manifestation of the bell of creation. In the birth, aging, sickness, and death, the future, the bad, the void, the book of destruction represented the sickness and bad. It represented the power to control the life and death of all things and the great power to cause all things to decay and decline. When all things flourished, there would be decline. When all things were created, there would definitely be destruction. From prosperity to decline, from prosperity to weakness. The pages of the book kept flipping. When the book of destruction reached the last page, what appeared in front of Lin Feng was a void of chaos. It was hazy and nothing could be seen clearly. Lin Feng's hand reached into the chaos as if he was holding something. At this moment, even the surrounding chaos and desolation condensed and disappeared. Everything disappeared. Only Lin Feng's palm made a gesture of holding something. Nothingness. This was the last manifestation of the bell of creation. It represented the destruction of all things in the world, returning to nothingness and returning to the primordial chaos. At the same time, it also represented the most terrifying power to destroy all things. Everything would be destroyed and turned into nothingness, no longer existing, not leaving a trace. Birth, aging, sickness, and death, the future, the bad, the void. This is creation. Witnessing the evolution of the bell of creation, life, and death, was undoubtedly a valuable experience for Lin Feng. It was almost equivalent to recultivating his Tao technique, causing Lin Feng's understanding of the world's Tao to deepen and his Tao technique foundation to become more solid. Lin Feng's divine sense gradually left his sea of consciousness. In reality, he opened his eyes and smiled. 300,000 points is worth it. He only had the first 2 chapters of the Heavenly Law Virtue scripture. If he could develop it to the extreme, it would probably be the most powerful Tao technique in the history of the great heaven primordial world. A magic treasure that used the Heavenly Law Virtue scripture as its foundation would definitely be above this world. Therefore, even if it was just a formless thought, it was extremely valuable. Lin Feng looked at the 33 days fortune immortal pills, mind-calming jade, and other treasures in his hands and smiled. The time is completely ripe. Chapter 475. Withdrawing his consciousness from the system, Lin Feng checked his harvest this time, and a satisfied smile appeared on his face. The Heavenly Soul Cloud Stone, the 33 Days Fortune Celestial Pill, the Tranquil Jade, and the prototype of the Bell of Fortune he had obtained the 4 most valuable items in the system. Apart from that, he had also obtained a sect leader's residence construction token and a stock of Spirit Spring Marrow Cleansing Grass. There was no need to mention the construction token, and the Spirit Spring Marrow Cleansing Grass was the main ingredient of the Marrow Cleansing Pill. The Marrow Cleansing Pill was a very famous pill in the great heaven primordial world. It could cleanse the bones and marrow of a cultivator's body, increase the power of the body, and extend their lifespan at the same time. Any cultivator below the Yuanying stage could increase their physical strength with the help of the Marrow Cleansing Pill and extend their lifespan to a certain extent. Even mortals who didn't cultivate Tao techniques could have the same effect. Yuanying cultivators couldn't increase their lifespan, but they could still cleanse their bodies and strengthen their essence and blood. The recipe for the Marrow Cleansing Pill was widely spread in the great heaven primordial world, but it was still very rare. The reason was that the ingredients were not easy to find, especially the main ingredient, the Spirit Spring Marrow Cleansing Grass, which was almost extinct. Lin Feng put away the items and walked to the Heaven Returning Gold Pavilion, where he used the silver 8 trigrams on the roof to derive the 33 Days Fortune Celestial Pills recipe. The silver 8 trigrams kept flashing, and the derivation this time took longer than the previous times. After a long time, a large number of diagrams and words appeared in the silver light, covering almost the entire Heaven Returning Gold Pavilion. After looking at it, Lin Feng couldn't help but smile bitterly. The ingredients are hard to find. There's still a long way to go. He recorded the recipe and dispersed the silver light. He put away the 33 Days Fortune Celestial Pill and slowly walked out of the pill room. After giving some instructions to the others, Lin Feng flew into the mysterious Heaven Time Light Grotto Heaven at the top of the treasure tree. There, Tian Chihuahua was still sleeping soundly, and the huge sword case the size of a small mountain was suppressing the remnant soul of the Golden Crow Great Sage. Meanwhile, the sloppy old man was still playing chess by himself. Lin Feng landed on the top of the small treasure tree and sat down cross-legged. He slowly revolved the Tao art of the Book of Taoism, and the magic power in his body circulated. The essence of the cloud forest tree was continuously absorbed by him. The cyclic purple chi circled around his body and shrouded him. The gate of heaven opened above his head, and as the clear light flashed, the shadow of a 7- or 8-year-old baby floated out. Its facial features were similar to Lin Feng himself. It was his Yuanying. Lin Feng's Yuanying's body was shrouded in a treasured light, the cloud forest tree's essence energy and the cyclic purple chi were constantly being absorbed into his body, and the Yuanying's body was also growing stronger, its height and physique were also growing. After a long time, Lin Feng's Yuanying had gradually turned into that of a 10-year-old, which meant that he had reached the peak of the middle stage of Yuanying. Lin Feng slowly opened his eyes and thought to himself, it's time to condense the Dharma of heaven and earth. Once the Dharma of heaven and earth is formed, I will reach the late stage of yuanying. The bell of creation in his mind rang again, and in the melodious sound, Lin Feng witnessed the birth, development, and decline of worlds one after another until they reached the end and returned to nothingness. The Book of Taoism had 2 chapters, the 4 Symbols Heaven Opening Scripture, and the 8 Trigrams Universal Great Tao Scripture, and they kept appearing in Lin Feng's consciousness. With this as the outline, Lin Feng started to condense the essence of his Tao skills and divine arts to refine the Dharma of heaven and earth. In the late stage of yuanying, one could cultivate the divine art of heavenly laws and condense the Dharma of heaven and earth. It was extremely powerful. The Dharma of heaven and earth represented the combination and sublimation of the cultivator's divine arts and magic power. The power was at the peak of yuanying, and it was the manifestation of yuanying's extreme strength. It was the preparation for the primordial spirit, and in a sense, it could be seen as a demigod. If a late-stage yuanying cultivator's Dharma of heaven and earth was completely destroyed by others, although his cultivation wouldn't fall to the middle stage of yuanying, his vitality would be greatly damaged. His power would be even weaker than a middle-stage yuanying cultivator, and he would need to spend a very long time to refine the Dharma of heaven and earth again. Only when the next Dharma of heaven and earth was formed would he regain his original power. The time needed to refine it was closely related to the time he cultivated in the past. This was because the first Dharma of heaven and earth was equivalent to the condensation of a lifetime's cultivation. If the first was destroyed, the time needed to refine it would be much shorter, but it would still take about half of the time. To condense the Dharma of heaven and earth, the cultivator would need to integrate his lifetime's cultivation into it. The stronger the power of these Tao skills and divine arts, the stronger the power of the Dharma of heaven and earth. But there was a deeper point to pay attention to here. Not all spells were suitable to be refined into the Dharma of heaven and earth, there was a need to choose. The Tao skills and divine arts that were refined into the Dharma of heaven and earth would completely merge with the cultivator's soul. In the future, when the cultivator used the combination of yuanying and Dharma of heaven and earth to form the primordial spirit, it would merge with the primordial spirit and receive the baptism of the laws of the Tao of heaven and earth, being reborn together. Some Tao skills and divine arts, if their level wasn't high enough, they were destined to be unable to pass the stage of merging with the primordial spirit. Instead, they could disturb the primordial spirit and cause the cultivator to fail in breaking through. So when refining the Dharma of heaven and earth, they had to be abandoned. Lin Feng sat quietly at the top of the treasured tree, countless scenes flashed through his mind like a horse lantern. Each scene was a layer of Tao skill true meaning, or the profoundness of a layer of divine arts. Above the 9 heavens, the scene of endless lightning, it belonged to the 9 heavens' heavenly thunder technique. Enduring and unmoving like the earth, calm and deep like a secret, this was the Kitagarbha Sutra. The Buddha transformed into anger, the vertical eye between his eyebrows emitting endless flames of anger, burning everything, this was the art of Akala. Silently flowing the Yellow Springs River, purifying and dispelling everything in the world, this was the art of Nirvana of the Yellow Springs. Apart from this, the Heavenly Wind Scripture, Star Luo Technique, Book of Taiyue, Hidden Secret of Quicksand, Art of the Blue Ocean, Scripture of Immeasurable Light, Scripture of Vairocana, Scripture of Great Een, Scripture of Brilliant Sun, Book of Heaven and Earth, Formless Wind God, all the Tao skill books that Lin Feng had either studied or only roughly browsed, they all turned into images, floating and sinking in Lin Feng's sea of consciousness. In the end, they were summed up into a scene. Silently existing in the void, an ancient and desolate bell sat and watched the changes of the world, thousands of principles were born and developed, multiplied to the peak, and finally, all techniques returned to one, pointing directly to the Tao. The Heavenly Wind Scripture, Star Luo Technique, Book of Taiyue, Hidden Secret of Quicksand, Art of the Blue Ocean and other lower-level Tao skills were eliminated one by one, while the remaining Tao skills turned into talisman characters, engraved on the surface of the bell of creation, and as the bell rang, they all shone brightly. Immediately afterwards, all kinds of profound manifestations of magic abilities and martial arts abilities also separately appeared in Lin Feng's sea of consciousness, turning into undulating shadows of light. The Formation 9 Heaven Thunder Summoning, the Martial Path Boundless Flying Sword, the Martial Path White Bone Continuous Hammer, the Escape Technique Cloud Dragon Escape, the Spell Red Lotus Break, the Spell Heaven Cage Sigil, the Spell Minor Reincarnation Technique, and so on. These were the individual abilities that Lin Feng obtained here and there. Violent Thunder Lightning Blade, Xitigarbha Golden Body, Akalanatha Fury, Netherworld Puppet, Yellow Springs Finger, Lunar True Water, Nine Heavens Formless Astral Wind, Solar True Fire, and so on. These were the magical abilities that Lin Feng comprehended after comprehending the Nine Heavens Thunder Technique, Lunar Truth, Great Sun Heaven Illuminating Scripture, and so on. Two-World Void Technique, Celestial World Barrier, 8 Trigram Sky Collapsing Hammer, Celestial Little World, Universe Shattering, Great Sun God Fist, Heaven Bearing Seal. These are the various powerful abilities that Lin Feng has comprehended on his own after comprehending his own Book of Tao and Tao. Apart from this, the 8 Trigrams Disintegration, Sword of E, Infinite Wind and Lightning, Mandala of Light and Darkness, Finger of the Yellow Springs, Road of the Yellow Springs, River of Forgetfulness, Heavenly Tempest, Divine Spear of Void Annihilation, All Things at the Heart, Great Een Mantra, and other divine abilities were all divine abilities that Lin Feng and his personal disciples comprehended on their own after comprehending the scripture of heavenly virtue that he taught them. Although Lin Feng did not cultivate these magical abilities, he was the source of them. With a casual glance, he could understand the profoundness within them. At this moment, they appeared in his mind one after another. After removing the impurities and retaining the essence, many lower-level Dharma spells were naturally eliminated. The remaining exquisite magical abilities also transformed into characters and shadows that landed on the bell of creation in the void. Countless splendor and divine rays circulated around the bell of creation. However, there were no changes to the bell itself. It sat there and watched the vast sea flow. It was like a piece of creation that bore the vicissitudes of all things. Lin Feng let out a soft cry, and the bell of creation projected a light shadow that landed on Lin Feng's yuanying head. Gradually, it condensed into a human figure. Yujing Mountain suddenly trembled. A portion of the mountain rocks were separated by Lin Feng and transformed into streams of light that entered the mysterious Sky Time Cave. The miniature mysterious sky treasure tree beneath Lin Feng also swayed gently. This time, it was not a single branch or leaf that left the tree. Instead, it was a whole bunch of branches and leaves that left the tree trunk and flew towards Lin Feng. With the light shadow projected by the bell of creation as the foundation, the Yujing Mountain rocks as the skeleton, and the mysterious sky treasure tree branches as the flesh and skin, a giant that was 2,000 feet tall appeared in the void. Ordinary people who cultivated heaven and earth Dharma powers would be less than 1,000 feet tall. The top successor of the Taishu Temple, Pang Jia, cultivated the supreme Wang Qing Dao of the two supreme great Daos of the sect, the Supreme and Void Scriptures. His heaven and earth Dharma powers were just over 1,000 feet tall. Even ordinary essence soul cultivators who manifested their essence soul avatars could only reach a height of about 2,000 feet. Now that Lin Feng had cultivated heaven and earth Dharma powers, he was more than 2,000 feet tall. He stood in the void, his feet stepping on the void and suppressing the heavens. The giant was born with 4 faces and 8 arms. The 4 faces corresponded to the earth, water, fire, and wind after the chaos was shattered. The 8 arms controlled the 8 great creation phenomena of heaven, earth, wind, thunder, water, fire, mountain, and lake. The eyes of the 4 faces were divided into 2 colors, black and white. Countless light shadows flashed in the pupils, evolving the creation of the universe. Silently, the bell of creation floated above the giant's head. Lin Feng and his yuanying did the same action. Inhaling. Following this action, the heaven and earth Dharma powers that he had condensed also suddenly took a deep breath. The endless cyclic purple chi was absorbed by the heaven and earth Dharma powers. Instantly, Lin Feng's heaven and earth dharma powers were like a giant god from ancient times. Its hands supported the heavens and its feet stepped on the earth. It was mighty and powerful, awakening from its slumber. Absolute power, absolute dominance, a powerful concept that could split the heavens and the earth and control creation. This concept of power poured down from the giant's body like a river, pouring into Lin Feng's Yuanying. Lin Feng's Yuanying instantly grew stronger again, breaking through the limit of a 10-year-old. His appearance instantly changed to that of an 11 or 12-year-old. Late Yuanying, success. But this was not enough. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. He had prepared for so long just for this day. The current him could still obtain more. He swallowed the essence of the entire cloud forest tree in one go. At the same time, Lin Feng took out a medicinal pill. It was the 33 days fortune immortal pill. Breaking through to the late Yuanying stage was not difficult for him. This medicinal pill was originally prepared for Lin Feng to break through 2 realms in a row and directly attack the primordial spirit. Lin Feng swallowed the 33 days fortune immortal pill. The mighty heaven and earth dharma powers above his head immediately let out a soundless but heaven-shaking roar. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.